Hey everybody, welcome to the Clear Skies Community Roundtable Q and Gay. My name is Hector Navarro. Please forgive me, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm getting over a cold. We have an incredible group of people here today. Just stunning, beautiful, gorgeous folks. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and then we can go ahead and kick this off. Starting right over here.
Starting with me.
Yes.
My name is Eric Campbell and I am the Game Master for Clear Skies.
My name is Bonnie Gordon. That's all you need to know.
I'm Xander Genre, and I'll tell you anything about Bonnie Gordon you want to know for the right price.
I mean, that's fair. And I give all my information about Xander for free.
That's where we're different.
And profit. Next. Who wants to go next?
I guess it's me. I keep forgetting that Xander
This is the way to go.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ray T. Jump Saying. That's all I'm saying.
Hi, I'm Aki.
And I'm Sam DeLev, and I think I'm the one they're all afraid of.
Yeah.
And I'm Barbara Walker.
This is
And this
2020.
is 2020.
So we have a whole evening of... First of all, I just want to say this. Eric and everybody here, they have some bombs they're going to drop. Some announcements, some red matter-sized announcements.
Whoa.
Because they're going to seem small, but they're going to leave a big impact. So there's going to be a big announcement in the next hour. And then we're going to be taking a little break, and then we're going to come back. And then in the second half, we're going to have another announcement and possibly a reveal. And yes, there's a blank chair here on purpose. So it's going to be a fantastic night of answering questions, geeking out, talking about Star Trek. And I also want to say this, too. Eric invited me so nicely, invited me to come and sort of moderate this Q&A. And he was really pitching it as, we're just going to hang out and geek out about Star Trek. So it's not difficult to get Hector to show up. But I want to say this. I want to say that there are varying levels of Trek love and passion and knowledge on these couches and chairs in here. And there are varying levels watching at home. And I really want to stress that if you're watching right now and you might not be into Trek, you might think, I'm not as knowledgeable or as passionate or whatever. My first entry into Star Trek was Shield of Tomorrow, or my first entry into Star Trek was like, I watched a movie or two, or I'm going to watch Picard, or whatever it may be. Welcome. That's excellent.
Really, Sam.
Welcome.
We're
This
just
is
excited.
my entry into Star Trek.
Yes.
So really,
Yes.
so excited. We can
So
get this
brave.
together.
I think we're just
Welcome.
excited to share our passion with everybody, whether you're a veteran Star Trek viewer from 1966 or, like I said, this is going to be the first thing you're going to get into. So sit back and relax and enjoy. And we've got a bunch of questions that are going to be coming in from the chat that I'm going to get to in this Google Doc that I think is going to be updating itself.
Thank you, mods.
Thank you very much. So we have some fun softball questions, but the first one here, this one is from Eric's patrons.
Oh.
In Officer's Lounge.
The Officer's Lounge chat, yeah.
First question that is going to go to everybody. This is from Aunt Zelda.
Oh, hey, I'm
Yeah.
What was everyone's introduction to Star Trek? Eric?
So I've told this story a couple of times, but it was my grandfather. My grandfather was a bit of a hoarder. He's very organized, but he was a bit of a hoarder. And he would just go by. My grandfather was the type of guy who, if he saw a perfect, a bucket on the side of the road, he'd be like, why is that just laying there? He'd stop the car on the Texas highway, get out, grab the bucket, and put it in the trunk.
It's a good bucket, Eric.
It's a good bucket. I mean, I laughed about that.
Don't be dissing his bucket.
No,
That is hoarding. That's bad.
But like, yeah, he was hoarding. But I mean, he had like he was the type of hoarder that had like old newspapers of like the Kennedy assassination still in his study
I love that.
and stuff like that. Like he had all of like history. And one of the things he would do is he would go to garage sales and just buy stuff that he thought was interesting. He bought me a VHS tape that someone had recorded Star Trek 1, 2, and 3 on from HBO.
Wow.
And just on a whim, he gave that to me.
By the way, that's a terrible trilogy. Like,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
should be 2, 3, and 4.
No, it was 1, 2, and 3 for me.
It's so funny.
But-
If it was from HBO, that means they included the sexy bits.
The sexy bits in 1, 2,
Is
and
there
3.
sexy
weren't
bits?
any.
No.
There were none.
But they included them.
So yeah, he bought me. He bought that at a garage sale, and he came home and like went through a box and handed it to me. And that was, it's why in Shield of Tomorrow, when we created the USS Sally Ride plaque, one of the first names I have on the plaque is John P. Campbell.
I love
because my grandfather was the one that introduced me to Star Trek, whether he knows that or not.
I love it.
He lived out the rest of his days, and I don't think I ever got to tell him the impact that had on me. But I have that VHS still, and I kept it in as pristine as condition as I possibly can. I've got it in a box.
You can get those on Blu-ray, right?
I've got them all. Xbox. I just got downloaded all of them. So
great. We're all gonna cry telling our story. Great. Bonnie.
Mine. I actually came into liking Star Trek later in life because I watched it on occasion when it was on when I was a kid, but I didn't really understand what it was or if I liked it. I was just like, oh look, Whoopi Goldberg.
It's not the most kid-friendly.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would just be
it is,
on.
but it's not. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I would just be watching it going, huh. And I just thought, like, they looked cool. Everyone looked interesting because of the different alien makeup and whatnot. But then when I moved to Vegas, I got hired to work at the Star Trek Experience. I had to, so during the audition, it's mostly improv. And I had to pretend that I knew a lot about Star Trek. Guess what? They knew I didn't. And they were like, we want to hire you. You seem like a really good addition to this cast. However, you need to know Star Trek. And I was like, on it. I'm so on it. So then I was like, okay, where do I start? And so of course I started with Next Gen and then like binged watched everything. Well, because I was going to be on the Next Gen side with the Klingons and everything. So I knew I had to know about the Enterprise because that's the side I was on. And then there was a Borg side, so then I was like, okay, I gotta watch Voyager, I gotta watch DS, I gotta watch everything. Quarks was there. Everyone was eating and dining at Quarks, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch DS9 now. So I basically binged watched it like a fiend and became a huge Trekkie really fast and became part of.
I was gonna say.
I got
You
to
had
wear
to watch it because you were stepping into the universe.
I was
of Star
literally
Trek.
in the spandex, walking onto the Enterprise, talking to Commander Riker on a screen, like yelling at Geordie LaForge. I was like, "This is the best job ever." Yeah. So I kind of got thrown into it and fell in love with Star Trek because I became a part of Star Trek at the Star Trek Experience.
That's really cool.
So and then ever since then, I've just been it's all she wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I've been obsessed since I wore that very unflattering uniform. I've loved it.
Yeah, a similar story where my dad would watch Next Generation when I was growing up, and I thought it was super boring. I hated Diana Troy because I thought that she was useless. Why do you need a
give her the
counselor?
best stuff ever. It was a real
Exactly, give her a lot of material.
In theory, great in theory, a great
Right.
character in theory.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wish that the writers had embraced that idea of having a counselor on the bridge as much
Right.
as like Gene Roddenberry wanted them to.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you know this, Hector, but there was some like gay stuff going on. So I was like, oh, this pretty girl, she just has boobs. Why doesn't she wear the
That's the
uniform?
point of her.
Yeah.
That was every female in the Star Trek experience. They're like, boobs. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're here for.
No, and then that was a part of like my childhood, and unfortunately, my dad had passed away when I was 15, and I did a reality show called King of the Nerds, where I was publicly shamed on TBS about my lack of Star Trek knowledge.
Yeah.
But despite that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. Started with original series and watched the whole ding dang thing.
Wow.
And loved it. And then Shield of Tomorrow happened, and it like coalesced everything. Now I still fall asleep to it. It's my
Same here, yeah.
It's the best because Xander's asleep really early and I get off work really late. So
you come home to find Star
whenever
Trek
I
playing?
get home, Xander's already asleep, but Star Trek is playing, and so I fall asleep to the ship noises because I can hear it from the other room. Unless there's like some explosions and war going on, and like everyone's like, "Get down!" And I'm just like,
Normally,
"Oh, I'm never
it's-
asleep."
It's not that. Normally, it's
Normally
just, like,
not.
Well,
60s ambiance.
Yeah.
It's on
It's
DS9
really
right
easy to
now,
fall-
so
even better.
You do. I am. You do hear it.
I do
Oops.
hear it.
And it is during like the wartime stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So funny.
Dominion Wars are in full flight.
Rave, I've been so eager for you to tell your story.
Tell us the
Oh,
long-running
man.
story.
the long winding story. No, I mean, I was a kid and I remember seeing Wrath of Khan. My dad was watching Wrath of Khan on TV, and I remember like walking into the room and there's that scene in the hallway with like the ear thing,
Yeah.
and I walked right back out and I was like, Star
That'll get
Trekking
you.
for me. Grew up a
That'll get
little,
you.
met
Yeah,
my
yeah.
best friend. She's like, my future husband writes Star Trek comics. You should probably read some Star Trek. I was like, not gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Continued to work in animation. Worked with some really cool voice actors. Like, got to meet Kate Mulgrew. It was fantastic.
I love her so
And was still like, not gonna watch Star Trek. And then Sam and Eric came to me and were like, you should be in this game. And I was like, fuck. think I gotta start watching
You
Star Trek.
hear that, Jackson Lansing? It wasn't your comic.
No.
It was our game.
Jackson has
wait.
been called out.
Follow-up question. Have you seen Wrath of Khan yet? In its entirety?
I'm scared.
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it.
I 100%
Oh.
just
Movie night.
watched it with earmuffs.
We-
like
Okay,
Eric
great.
earmuffs.
I took care of Sam. We went past
really
it.
hardcore.
Okay.
I could not.
I want to read this real quick
Yeah.
because I got this from Rave this afternoon.
Yes.
It said, "But I love this game in this world already." All caps, question marks. So I want to be able to live in it forever.
Welcome.
Welcome,
I
Dave.
actually agree with that. Like, I think that, like, if you're ever in, like, one of those, like, 20 questions games and everyone's like, if you could live in any fantasy world, what
Oh,
fantasy
yeah.
world would you want to
Star
live
Trek's
in?
the best one.
Star Trek.
The
I mean,
one with the
holodeck alone.
replicators.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one with the replicators, but also the one that, like, chooses to be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like we're imagining a future and, like, it's going to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, we will be better people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Star Trek, y'all. I guess I finally admit it.
This is the way we get to live there, dude.
Here's the deal, though.
Good
Before you watch Wrath of Khan, you
Okay.
do have to watch Space Seed, which is an original
That's
series.
true.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
That's
We're
true.
gonna give you a
There's
pro.
It'll get
no
confusing.
earworms in this episode. I
Okay.
promise.
Yeah,
It's
Okay,
just
great.
not as pornographic as it
It's
sounds.
just
Okay.
Mexican actor Ricardo Montalban showing his chest. It's
That's-
wonderful.
Dude
Also-
got me questioning.
Got it.
Whether or not
Love
he
it.
met Chekhov is confusing.
Yes,
Oh,
so just
man.
roll
Doesn't
with
matter.
I'll tell you a great story about that afterwards because one of the great
I am
stories of Star
so
Trek.
ready.
Yes.
All right, Aki.
Aki?
Yes. Actually, I think for as long as I can remember, I've been a Trek person. Grew up. I grew up watching it. My dad always had TNG on. I think at the time the series was fairly close to being over. Because I grew up in a very conservative household, there were a lot of episodes that I actually didn't get to see. That when I grew up and went back and actually watched it from beginning to end, I was like, oh, I've never seen this episode. Oh, that's why I never saw it.
Do you know?
Rise up.
And let me know if this is getting too personal, but would they check like the summaries of the episodes to be like, skip
I
this
mean,
one?
like
or...
we didn't have the internet back then, so
Sure, like
but
TV
no,
Guide.
I think
Guide.
basically
TV
it was either TV Guide or it was we usually watched the recordings. Of
Oh,
it. So my
okay.
dad would
Oh.
record them, and then if we were allowed to watch them, we would watch them.
Got it.
But like by the time we hit Deep Space Nine, we were not being screened from episodes anymore, and we certainly weren't by Voyager. So
it's too much.
well, yeah, but also we were older at
Sure.
that point. So, but I actually have a confession to make. I still have not watched the original series. In
Oh!
Neither have I.
Okay, here's a
Okay.
perfect
Okay.
intro.
Yeah.
Sit down with Gravity, watch Space Seed, and then you'll be good to go. And that's
Yeah.
the intro.
Yeah.
And that Trouble with Tribbles is a great one.
Oh,
it's
there's
a
that
handful.
one, Trouble with
Series a bit of
Tribbles.
a slog.
I've seen select episodes. I've never watched it all.
If you've seen that episode of Deep Space Nine where they go back into
Yeah.
it,
That's my
That's
best
very
friend.
good one.
basically
It's
seen
so
the original
good.
series.
What is-
yeah,
what-
which is why I'm not too worried about it.
No,
I feel like
no,
I've seen
it's
the
fun.
important ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one is it? It actually might be Trouble with Tribbles. The one where they get into the bar fight because
Yeah.
the
That's Trouble with
Klingons.
Tribbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene so
You have a
much.
That's everything.
script?
That is,
of
that's
that
right.
one?
That's
Yeah,
right.
bar fight. It's got
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And, you know,
we met
of
the
course-
right. We were doing a
David
convention with the
Gerald.
writer,
Yeah.
and we got
Cool.
Erica's signed script of To the Trouble.
Can I
with
tell a
Tribbles.
quick
gosh.
story?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yes.
So our booth was right across from his. He wrote The Trouble with Tribbles. We have a big shirt that says all about that
Space,
no
no
tribbles.
tribbles.
And we're like, sorry, David Gerald.
And basically, like
Yeah.
tribbles were thrown.
It was awkward.
Yeah, but he signed a bunch
hilarious.
of scripts for us.
That's great.
It's
great.
Sorry, continue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's more or less it. I've grown up with it. I've always watched it. I've taken those tests where like, are you bigger a Star Wars or a Star Trek fan?
Eh.
And I've always split straight down the middle 50-50 on them.
Solid.
Because
Solid.
my parents just raised me on both, and there was no reason for me to
Good.
have to choose.
That's the way to do it.
So-
There's no reason to choose.
You should be raised on both.
You should be raised
Yeah.
on
Absolutely.
One's
Yeah.
fantasy,
100%.
one's science fiction.
Okay, we're not gonna.
Okay, sorry.
Don't
Sorry.
come for us.
Why not both?
Sam?
So I had a different type of household. So Voyager was on past my bedtime. I didn't get to see Trek growing up because I went to sleep very early. So I didn't get to watch Star Trek until college. And my buddy started me off with DS9.
Okay.
Because, like, you know, if you've gotten used to serialized television like we had by that period,
Right. Good place to
it
start.
appeals.
Yeah.
And so
You don't have those like early next gen seasons where they're a little rough. Everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
seasons 1 and 2, a little rough. And you're like, it's just, Deep Space Nine.
right. It's a pretty good intro. It was a pretty good intro for me as someone who came into it sort of late in the television history of Trek. It was a good first one, and then I watched pretty much everything in college. I would just be doing orchestration homework, and I would have it on the other monitor. So I just watched a lot of Trek and fixed a lot of oboe parts.
Like you do.
No,
What
I'm
a
lying. It
combo.
was French horn parts because I saw the transcription.
French horn is the best.
Funny little side story is it turns out Leland Cox, our composer for Shield of Tomorrow, and now our composer for Clear Skies, is in fact connected to Sam DeLev because they were in the same music department.
No way!
Yeah, isn't that wild?
He did the film score
Which one is
program.
Kevin Bacon?
It's me.
No.
So we have some wonderful questions in the chat
Okay, yeah.
that I would love to get to, because here's the deal. I don't know how much Eric and the crew are allowed to say
Yeah, we're
about
still-
the show Clear Skies. So
see.
I'm going to ask them, and we're going to see what we can get out of them. But
Nothing.
I feel like it's always good to start with Eric and then be
Yes.
like,
Look for me for cues.
yeah.
Let's see how much he discloses.
Yeah.
and then-
No, that might not be a good
Oh,
metric.
that's actually no. Never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind.
It's fine.
Thesser or Thesser
Yes, sir.
Thesser asks, this crew has had some real good implicit asexuality representation in the past. Any chance we are going to get explicitly stated in-game / on-screen ace rep
Yes.
this time?
Yes.
Hi.
Boom. Boom.
Yes.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, one of your main cast members. Real quick, before we continue,
Yeah.
there's something I realized that we should probably do before we move, and we're going to have to be kind of quick about this, but we're not going to have another opportunity like this where we're all together like this again. We had... we got some scattered fan mail. As it turns out, like a bajillion years later for the Callisto 6 days, here's an Anton. So that's for you. Now, I don't necessarily... Now, when we received this fan mail, it was a little scattered. I don't know how long GNS had it. So when they gave it to us, it was kind of piecemealed. And so I don't necessarily know who these are all from, unfortunately.
If you know what stuff is from, tweet at us.
Please
Or
tweet
get
at us.
in chat. Thank
Yeah, I'm super eager to see what you got there, Anton.
Ooh.
Ooh, what is that?
It looks like a little tissue something. You know what this is?
Maybe.
Peter,
I
you
think so.
reacted
I
to
think
it.
so.
I think so.
Oh yes. Is it your animal?
Oh, lovely.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet!
yeah.
It's the
Yes.
keychain!
Oh man.
Oh.
Anton,
That's taken a long
Callisto
time to get
6.
to you.
Yeah, it took a while to get to you.
Mine is still on my Cobalt coat.
Mine too.
Anna
Oh,
Beeman.
sure.
That's gorgeous.
Which is wonderful. The JB Creations 10 at Twitter. You can follow Just Believe Creations 10 on Instagram. Hannah B.
Woo!
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yeah.
Right on.
It says Anton on the back.
It says
All right,
Anton.
great.
Great.
Thank you.
I want to do the rest of these, but I realize they're contingent on having a full setup here.
Okay.
So that leads me to think that I should probably do an announcement so we can have a full setup.
Oh my gosh.
And
Already? An announcement already?
do you-
Okay.
yeah, I think we should go
I
ahead.
think
Time.
I think it's time for an
We should announce the
announcement.
first thing
I think
Yes.
that's the first.
because we're not a whole ensemble up here, and we should be.
Yeah, no.
Yes, there's a chair.
So
fix that.
here's our first. There's going to be 2 big announcements tonight. So this is the first one. The first big announcement, and this is going to take some of y'all a little bit by surprise. We are in fact launching 2 Star Trek Adventure campaigns.
Boom!
Whoa!
We've announced Clear Skies. Clear Skies is our main campaign, and that is the one that you will be seeing us do the most often. The next campaign, however, is we have it right now. It's in development, and the frequency of which we are going to play it is about once a month, is what we're looking at. And it will be airing on the same time slot as Clear Skies. In the old days, if you might get this reference, Hector, in the old days, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show used to do an entire week of Super Mario Brothers cartoons, but then Friday was Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
Same principle.
Excuse
so-
me, princess.
So once a month, we're looking at doing this. I am excited to announce that it is, in fact, a Klingon campaign that will be taking place in the Shackleton Expanse adjacent to Clear Skies. We don't have the name of the show yet. It's all being developed still. But I am very excited to introduce you the captain of the Klingon vessel, who will be joining us. If you would please join us.
Carefully.
Please meet the captain of our Klingon vessel. Yeah!
Yo!
Yeah.
Long overdue.
Oh my god, I know everyone's
Very
freaking out. And chat explodes.
Damn, it feels good to be a Klingon.
You're sitting on that all day.
No, just now. But
Right.
I waited till it got quiet enough for me to say it.
I feel it.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, give me the batlet. I want to play the batlet.
As soon as she walked in with it, I was like, me want it.
Yeah, we saw you enter onto the side. I'm like, don't break. Don't let everybody know that
Oh,
you've
it's
seen.
sturdy.
Oh, this belongs
Yeah.
Do you
to
want
me
this
now.
over here?
Yeah, you could kill a person with
carefully.
that.
Yeah,
You really could.
yeah.
You really
It's very heavy cardboard.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you make this?
No, I did not.
You should be like, no, I killed someone.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
So now that we have a full ensemble, before we jump
Alright.
back into the Trek questions, let's go ahead and knock out because we've got 2 envelopes here, so
Okay.
that's manageable.
Ooh.
And these are Callisto 6.
Oh.
These are Callisto 6 stuff. So this is from Danny Stonefeld.
Yay.
And there's a bunch of envelopes. Now, normally we'd read these on the air because we've only got a 2-hour time slot tonight. We're gonna read these individually. But here's one for the cast, and then there's one for Bonnie and Sam and Amy. We'll make sure Amy gets that. And let's see. I this is more. This is more goodness. Oh man, you know what? I just lost my keychain too.
Oh!
Look at
There are symbols.
I remember seeing these on Discord.
Sam?
Oh, that's Amy's.
this. That's Amy's. Oh, it's a
wow,
fist.
It's a
It's a
fist.
fist.
I see it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
That's Luma's.
Luma's. Who's that? That is. Oops. Sorry. I'm dropping these.
Wait, who is that?
Shion, that's mine.
Oh, that's
It
yours.
says it in
Oh,
Japanese.
that's amazing.
That's yours.
That's Cobalt.
There's Cobalt.
Yay!
There's Cobalt.
These are gorgeous.
Insanely amazing.
Is that Oya? That's Oya.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see a lightning bolt.
That's a lightning
there's
bolt.
a Haas.
Pool ball.
Oh, and a pool ball. That's right.
Yeah.
That's Sam.
That's Sam.
Oh, wow. And then that's Anton.
This is a big A with a 6 on it. That's
That's
yours.
so cool.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
tie.
Amazing.
That's
Wow.
rad. So we got Amy's.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got.
Danny, thank you.
These are gorgeous.
These are awesome.
So good. I
Oh,
remember.
Shiza.
And
Oh, I caught it. I caught it.
These are so cool.
I got one.
Oh, look at all these 6s.
Oh, snap.
Look at all these. Oh, yeah.
We should take these to
This
like
is
Gen
Christmas.
Today's
Con or
Three Kings
something.
Day. So actually, yes, this is like our gifts for Three Kings Day. Thank
Yeah,
you.
look at all these
Thank you.
gorgeous 6s, and they're all designed.
all the
the
different
lacy one
colors.
looks rad.
Whoa.
That's so cool. It's like
Wow.
super tech. Oh, that's so. Thank you. We're gonna pass
Thank
these
you.
out.
Thank you.
Let's set these over
So
here.
amazing.
That's so rad.
Here, I can grab this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're good.
And the last one, it looks like this is from. It says GM was
Or at M1.
at M was. Oh, this is cool. Oh,
there's
look at
one
that.
to Eric.
Whoa.
Eric Campbell.
This is very nicely packaged.
Yeah, that's a big, thick folder. Stop.
For Eric's eyes only. For Eric's eyes
Says
only.
only can't see.
For Eric's eyes only. Okay, this is only for me. This has
Okay.
3XP on the back of it.
3 XP.
Snack dispenser by Rebel Design. What is this?
I don't
all
have
You
about?
could get a long-term benefit.
Is there a funnel cake in there?
Funnel
Oh,
cake.
it looks like there's
It's
a.
been there for months.
Oh, what is this? Regarding snacks.
Are
It's a
those?
script.
Is this a comic?
At first I thought it was like you were being sued, and I was like,
Oh, is this
You have been served.
atmosphere
Yeah.
tracks?
Well, it's
Oh,
not
these are all the.
IP infringement.
Memo logs?
Are these all the
King's
soundtracks?
initial design meeting.
Wow.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get into this. What is
whoa,
this?
it's like
Looks
Tales.
good.
Fine.
That's awesome.
That's so
This
cool.
is a meal, not a
Yeah,
snack.
oh my
Is
gosh.
this
This is
real?
heavy duty.
Thank
Print
you.
instant. Okay, I'm gonna get into this. Wow,
This is
Whoa.
amazing.
This is a
Before we
lot.
jump back into questions, now that Elise is here, Elise, a question for you, softball question.
Softball
How did
question.
you get into Trek?
Oh, okay. I feel like I've told this story so many times. I was into Trek as a kid. I watched TOS at night to fall asleep. You know how it was on at like 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m. But I also was a kid during TNG and Voyager and DS9. My dad was into Voyager. I was into TNG, and I would watch it with my aunts and uncles. So from childhood, I would watch it a lot. And then there was this like drought of Star Trek in my life where I was like being an actor, and I moved to LA, and I was like trying to figure out what that was. And I was like I call those the lost years because
Oh.
I kind of
Track
lost
person's
my
life.
own interest besides wanting to
Right.
be an actor
Mhm.
and I became a writer during that time too, which is great. But besides those things, I kind of like lost following my own interests outside of acting, and so I felt like my acting career was kind of stagnating, and I was like creatively unfulfilled. I was like, boring. What do I do? So then I started doing three things: doing improv, so taking improv classes, going to shows, and doing shows. I started going to science events, like space science events, like
Cool.
What a cool
JPL.
thing.
You?
Science-
Really?
Yeah.
Sound
Because as a kid, I also was super into space, just in general, not just sci-fi. And then, so I went to like NASA events and things like that. Started watching a lot of like videos online about space and science.
Mhm.
And then the third thing I did was I decided I wanted to just watch all of Star Trek chronologically.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
Ooh, chronologically,
Yeah.
like
Nice.
as it aired, or as
well,
the series.
I decided
You started
to.
with Enterprise?
I started with TOS because
Yeah.
I couldn't do that to myself. I couldn't start with Enterprise.
I love Enterprise. You learned Enterprise alone.
Listen, Virginia, just to defend Enterprise, I feel like a lot of prequels in pop culture, they do kind of work best if you
you
watch
know
the
the
first
first
thing.
one.
With
You know what I mean?
some
Like
Yeah.
so.
It's true.
Exactly.
That's
That's what
true.
my reasoning was. It was
Yeah.
like I feel like I
Solid.
should watch the TOS first,
Right.
and then I went to Enterprise, and then from there it was chronological. So yeah, and in that process, I felt like my creativity bloomed, and I met all these cool people, and I started getting jobs because of Star Trek and
Okay.
sci-fi, and it's just been wonderful.
Right on. Yay!
I'm so glad it happened.
Thanks
You
for
realize
that.
you're now the most captainly of us all between McGinley and Talon and now this
Oh my
Klingon
goodness.
captain.
Yeah, you've got so
You are the
many
most
captains.
captain.
I got lots of captain.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That strong
Oh my
captain
goodness.
energy.
Yeah.
We've got nothing
Is-
over here.
Here's the
You will.
here's the next
You
question
will.
for anybody to just kind of jump in. We don't have to go all the way around and have everybody respond, but
Okay.
October asks, what element of Trek are y'all most looking forward to exploring in Clear Skies? Example, first
Magnesium.
contact, the nature of sentience/humanity, intercultural relations, perseverance, scientific wonder, etc., etc. What's something you're most looking forward to? If anybody has an idea, chime in.
Scientific wonder.
Boom.
Ooh.
Easily.
Boom.
I miss writing the mysteries.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When Shield of Tomorrow was like every day it was writing mysteries, and it was a lot of fun to write that, and so and that ties totally into scientific wonder. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
For me, it's actually just the chance to play in this world every week in a long-term campaign, which I've never had the chance to do, and I'm really excited about that. So,
Yeah.
Going off of that, I have the same feeling because with Shield too, like both of us,
Guest
we would
life.
come in. Yes.
Yes.
But I would watch every week because I loved it. I loved the story and I loved how it was unfolding. And so to be a part of that now from the get-go, I think I'm really excited for that particular aspect of it and see where the stories can go when we have this unlimited, roadmap ahead of us.
Awesome.
Funny enough, I'm excited to kind of like have that experience now.
Sure.
Not being part of the main crew, I get to just be a fan of you guys
Yeah.
and watch and follow along, and then also have my own thing where I can like, listen and learn and kind of like have my Klingon perspective of things.
Mhm.
But I feel like I'm gonna be kind of a puzzle piece to you guys.
Sure.
And just kind of like, yeah.
Ready?
So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited about something, but I'm not gonna say.
Oh.
Okay, that's fair. That's legit. That's legit.
I'm excited about all our characters. They're
Yeah.
Yeah, not to tease you guys, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited about exploring that lore of characters
Right.
and species.
You
we're
lore.
all about
Exploring
that
lore
lore.
is an erotic
Oh.
novel, you know.
Oh, hey. Oh, it is. I've read it.
Because there's the Data's brother's named Lore. Just helping you with the joke
Yeah,
there. Do you
no.
know Star Trek, by the way? Have you
I've heard of it.
Oh,
It
sorry.
seems nice.
People get shot for mansplaining these days. You know that?
Oh, is that true?
You almost got shot twice.
Just now?
Yeah.
Your brother's like, you're in a bad place.
What? Is that what that's
That-
yeah.
Oh,
Our baby's hanging.
Circle gets the square.
yeah. Not only did you
remember, and
recognize
this is
that.
very important, it's
Oh,
a
okay.
bad weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Restleth are better.
Yes.
I will die on this hill.
No,
So
that
excited.
left looks cool though.
Yeah.
That's true.
Next question. Tungsten Kopesh asks, what would each of you recommend as a good self-contained Trek episode to share your respective passion for Star Trek? I want to go first because this is
Yeah, fire away.
really,
Yeah.
really tough. and everybody brings a different thing to Trek, and Trek is not a monolith, and it means so many different things to so many different people. What's that?
The monolith, 2001, right?
Huh?
The monolith is in 2001, not
Correct.
in Trek, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Because I haven't seen 2001, so I don't know.
Are you NB-splaining?
It's fine. That movie's okay. That movie's pretty good, I guess. And I didn't hate 2010. Everybody craps.
I didn't either.
It's like it's fine.
That's
It's
2010 has
I'm
talent.
so sorry.
It's weird. Here's what I would say, only because the thing that I loved about Trek, the thing I love about Trek is that even though it originated in the 60s, there was such a attempt to have a diverse crew. And even though the hero, the lead, is sort of the straight white male hero that pop culture is used to, and his two sort of second and third in command are still white guys, there was a crew that had a woman from Africa, an Asian guy, a Japanese character, and then probably the most daring at the time was a Russian character.
Yeah, in that period. Yeah.
That period. And the thing that I would look at that show and when you hear the behind the scenes with like George Takei going to Gene Roddenberry and being like, hey, is there any possibility? And he wasn't even out in the 60s as an actor. He was like, is there any possibility we can get a gay character? And Gene was like, I'm sure Gene probably knew why George was asking, but Gene was like, I hear you. It's just not that time yet. And it's these like little heartbreaking stories. And despite all that, there's an episode that featured an actor who I fell in love with because of Star Trek, and then I love the rest of his stuff, and it's Ricardo Montalban, who is a Mexican born and raised actor, lighter skin, and he came in to audition for a role that was originally kind of intended for an Indian character. And he came in and auditioned, and they were like, oh, it's got to be this guy. So they just like gave him the role, but didn't really change the character. And then they gave him like darker makeup to sort of be kind of like just ethnically ambiguous Indian, whatever. He was playing a Sikh, kind of, a Sheik, kind of, but not. And that character, even though he was a villain and is evil and is bad, he was played by a Mexican actor who was visibly darker than the hero at the time, and the character was respected and played as being more intelligent, stronger physically, and smarter and more cunning in every way than the hero. And so that, when I'm watching that, and I'm like, this is 1966, and they gave this role to this actor for this guest spot. And it was so beloved that 20 years later, they brought it back for a movie, and they started writing the movie without even checking Ricardo Montalban's schedule to see if he could do it. Because like the writer who was hired to do that movie was like, I love this character so much, I would love to see what happens next. And he just started going without checking, hey,
are you free? Next Thursday.
He had a summer off when he was filming Fantasy Island, was a show he was doing at the time. So that episode to me is really interesting. It's rife with 60s, watch it. But it is still like, his performance is still 50 years later, like really magnetic. And I think he does a great job, and it's a great intro to a great villain who then would go on to mean something in terms of Trek because he was like the star of the movie. And it's a little self-contained, and it has a lot of action for the 60s, and you get to clearly see William Shatner's stunt double. It's
and
fun.
Scotty uses booze.
So I always recommend the episode Space Seed as like a nice, like, this is like Star Trek if it were trying to be a blockbuster movie and not really like an intellectual Star Trek, but still, some interesting philosophical questions. I keep looking at you because I'm trying to pitch it.
You sold me. You sold
Can we do a movie night and watch that?
We should. We can do it at my place. We should. So that would be my.
Watch those movies in 3D.
We got to do them in 3D. That's right.
Because I still haven't seen the other two of the new ones.
And we're still planning our Shield trip too.
Yeah,
that's right.
It'll be right when we do TBD's wrap party.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to chime in, but does anybody have a one episode that they would recommend?
Who's gonna say Darmok?
I am.
Right?
Yeah. There we go.
Darmok is a quintessential episode of Trek because that episode captures what the characters of the Federation are trying to accomplish. It captures the mystery writing of Star Trek, and it's just deeply fascinating. I mean, one of my favorite moments of that entire episode is when Picard is telling the captain the story, and giving him the Earth mythology version of the story, as the captain is mortally wounded and dying at the campfire. Like that episode for me is just like that. What's great about that episode is you can watch that completely out of context of the rest of the series, and you have everything that is Trek in there. It's fantastic. I always recommend that one.
Great episode.
That one and of course to cap that off is it's always Inner Light.
I was gonna say Inner Light.
Everyone,
Oh, yeah,
everyone,
that's good too.
because everyone tells you like it's like when people
Start making a list.
when people
I'm taking
introduce
notes.
you to like Doctor Who, they say you've got to watch Blink.
Yeah.
9 times
That
out-
was my intro.
9 times
I didn't
out-
think it was the greatest intro to it.
Well,
So I was like,
that's
the
what-
doctor's in a TV?
That's what people say because that's a great episode that shows you what Doctor Who can do.
Right.
The Inner Light is an excellent episode because that'll show you what Trek can do, and it's recommended. So anyway,
I have a DS9 recommendation, and it's only a paper moon.
yeah.
Yes, that's a good one.
Who
Oh,
would
man.
have thunk that this pipsqueak nod would become the beating heart of DS9?
Right.
Like, for real though, and like
yeah.
Right.
to focus on his growth as a character from season 1 all the way up through the end of DS9, like God bless him, rest his soul. Aaron Eisenberg just did such an incredible job with that
Yeah, he did.
character.
Just recently passed away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I just about any episode that dealt with Nog and his growth as somebody who was trying very hard to find his own identity, something I deeply relate to, is like It's Only a Paper Moon is probably one of the most compelling episodes, I think, especially in some of the handful of very good episodes that Star Trek has done about depression and
PTSD
and
in a major
PTSD
way.
and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like that one stands out like by far.
They so quick side note on that. Star Trek Online continued Nog's storyline into the video game, and they made Nog a captain. So Nog and Aaron Eisenberg did voice. He came back one last time and played Nog.
He wrote a comic book. He's done a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff in Trek since his
yeah.
he's great.
Yeah, Aaron Eisenberg was another example of somebody who was in Star Trek who was a huge damn fan of Star Trek,
Right.
Yep.
and loved the fans and what he was doing.
Which should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And to go completely, I know everyone's like giving like heartwarming and like really
Give us a
special
few.
episodes.
Yeah, give it
I'm
to
gonna
us.
go
Go.
completely off the other end. One of my favorite episodes, just because I'm such a Data fan, is A Handful of Datas.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so ridiculous,
It's
and like you're
ridiculous.
watching it, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
But Brent Spiner is so funny playing everything. For those not familiar,
Fistful? Is it a
Fistful
fistful?
oh
of
sorry,
Datas.
that's what I meant.
A
A fistful of Datas.
yeah.
Hand, fist, what?
So good.
You'll find it.
You'll find it. Fistful of Datas, and it's just so ridiculous and fun. And it also has a great moment for Worf and his son to really connect and to spend quality time together.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
the
Alexander.
Robin Hood
Yeah,
episode.
Alex-
is
Yeah.
also
Robin Hood
really,
episode is
really
I am
good.
not a married man.
Everything about
Basically, all the holodeck
Taking
episodes.
notes,
Yeah.
y'all.
I know. We'll give
Also
you a list.
also the Sherlock Holmes
Right.
episodes where Moriarty actually becomes
Yeah.
basically
Part of the ship.
becomes
Like,
aware.
sentient.
This
Yeah, the
sounds
ship.
great.
Yeah.
They get good. Oh, gosh.
And I'm such a Sherlock Holmes fan too. I feel like Sherlock Holmes and in my room I have like 5 silhouettes of like
It's
my
the wall
crushes.
of unemotional.
Of emotionally unavailable men that I have crushes on, which is Data, Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Who. I have a problem. Dude, Spock is on there. Y'all. help
Who
me.
else also loved pretty much any episode Charles Barkley was in?
Oh yeah.
So
I didn't
funny.
like Barclay.
I loved Barkley.
Barkley.
Oh.
So I
I
love
said Charles Barkley. I'm like, is he
I was like,
basketball?
Lieutenant
Basketball
Barkley.
player?
Barkley.
I did
Charles
say Charles.
Barkley?
I didn't mean to.
I was like, that would have been a whole different
Barkley
character.
was a tough character for me.
Me too.
He brought something new to it for
It's
sure.
'cause he
but
was too close to me.
Violations.
so many times I was
So
like,
many HR violations.
He was the worst.
Here's what made him tough. And this isn't the character's fault, and it isn't even. I'm gonna chalk it up to the times,
Okay.
where I would say
Me too.
most of the
What decade are we
episodes,
looking at here?
80s, 90s.
Got it.
Yeah.
Most of the
Late
episodes
80s.
that when you look back on now and you watch them, Star Trek episodes, 80s, 90s, I just chalk it up to, you know what? Probably mostly dudes in the writer's room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they would write episodes where like Geordie LaForge fell in love with the hologram woman.
Oh boy.
Where it was like boundaries, buddy. These
Yeah.
kinds of
It got
things
really
where you go, who's
Well-
writing this episode and who are you writing it for?
Yeah.
Right.
And Barclay felt like a sort of like
Barkley was a self-insert for sure.
self-insert kind of a
Yeah.
surrogate for like a guy or writer who felt kind of shit upon, I guess. And,
I
and,
really
you know,
enjoyed him in later episodes when he's
Yes.
gotten much older. And
Yeah.
In,
With
Yes.
Voyager.
Man, can I just say,
Voyager.
I loved what they were doing with him in Voyager, but then there's the episode where he just shows up to Deanna's vacation.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
And that's fun. That was such a what about Bob moment.
Yeah.
I was like,
Poor Deanna Troy, being stuck in a television show, can't assert proper therapeutic boundaries and
Be
say,
like,
get away from my
"Motherfucker."
vacation,
Yeah.
because then the plot would end.
Right.
She was
yeah.
his therapist, and
But
he just shows up at her vacation.
He did at least bring a different flavor as as somebody who was in Starfleet, because a lot of times everybody in Starfleet is perfect.
Yes.
Every
Oh,
human
yeah.
is so good at
Yes.
their job, very capable.
They learn their
Which
lessons right away.
Have great social lives. Like
It's-
they're just like balanced people.
which
so
is
sometimes you need somebody to mix it up.
I just want to. I'm going to end cap that by saying it's one of the reasons why Tilly is one of my favorite Star Trek characters.
Love
She's
Tilly.
perfect.
Tilly is my new Star Trek crush.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she, in my opinion, is one of the best Star Trek characters
I
because
think-
she's Barclay done right.
I
in
think
modern.
you're absolutely right. I think
Yeah.
Discovery is able to do characters who might be like socially not perfect, but they're still damn good at their job. So that's why they're in Starfleet.
Yeah. Right.
But Discovery has a lot of characters. You're like, ooh, what
can
an
be
interesting
nuanced.
like personal life. Let me get into this. But they're not like a bad person.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're still
Yeah,
rooting for them, and you're like, okay,
It
this
makes
is great.
sense. You'd have to be a bit of a flavor to get into Starfleet.
Yeah.
What are you
That
gonna
could
say?
be-
Yeah, I have one. I actually am trying to look up the title of it. I'm
Which one is it?
terrible at
What
the
is it?
title.
We'll
We are
help,
too.
we'll help.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
We'll help. What
this
happens
is
in
a
it?
TOS episode,
Okay.
and I have like,
Go ahead.
Heck, we'll know.
forgive me.
Go ahead.
Forgive me. I have mixed. TOS is what introed me to
Yes.
Star Trek, but it's rough to get through.
It is
my
rough.
my niece.
It's very
My
sexist.
like 20-something
Among
niece
other
right now.
things.
She's
Among
like
other
22 or 23, I think. She's watching TOS right now, and she's like, "Ugh, this is rough. It is hard to watch."
Yeah.
And it's 2019, and I think we're allowed
Whoop,
to
it's
say
2020,
that.
girl.
We're still at 2020. We're still allowed to say
Yes.
like this is problematic, but also we revere it. It's
Right,
okay to say
right.
both, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this episode is my favorite, and it's the one where they go down onto a planet. The miners are getting killed, and they find that it's. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but it's
It's
you know what I'm
Danger
talking
in the
about.
Dark,
Ascension.
I think is what it's
That
called.
sounds. It's
It's
not
from-
that.
it was in the
very close.
60s, so I don't think you're spoiling anything.
They
No,
come across.
it's spoiled. It still counts.
Is this what
Damn it.
the
They come across the Horta.
The
yeah?
Horta.
Oh, is it the
Good
pain?
episode.
It is
Pain.
like
Pain.
something in the dark.
The
Yeah.
Devil in the Dark.
Devil in the
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
Thank
close.
you.
That's
Yeah.
a good
That's a
title.
Spock mind melds with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pain.
Oh,
That's
hey,
my
spoiler!
Oh, sorry.
I do know that episode.
It's a beautiful episode because
Yeah,
it shows a life
The
form
best.
that like viewers in the 60s I can't imagine would ever think.
Kind of like
would
the
be a
Dharma.
life.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
TOS
totally.
Dharma.
Yeah.
Totally,
Because
yeah.
it's about like connecting
Totally.
with another species and having empathy for something that's so
That
different
communicates
from
in a
you.
different way.
Yeah.
It's not even-
So
it's not
I
even
think
a
that's the
carbon-based
best
life
TOS
form. I don't even
Silicon-based.
think
It's
Silicon
silicon
based.
based.
That's
Yeah.
right, Tim.
It's garbage
spoiled the whole thing.
tail
Just-
based.
Devil in the Dark.
It was
was
just
good.
it was a big blob of trash that
Yeah.
just kind of threw together. Like, we don't have any props. Quick, someone.
Oh my
Right,
god.
I wasn't available to cast
But you
at the
feel
time.
so much.
So
you feel so much
just give,
empathy for
give
that.
everyone a heads up.
Sorry,
So
Rich. Are we running
just
out
so
of
y'all,
time?
just so you guys know, we're going to be taking a 10-minute break at 7:30. It's 7:17 now, so we'll get through some more
So
questions.
fast.
Here's
I know.
here's a quick question for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say quick.
Callisto is asking, without too many spoilers, did any of y'all choose to explore Trek races/character types in this game outside of your normal wheelhouse?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
Yes.
I think
Everywhere
everyone.
is my
Everybody-
wheelhouse.
everybody. I can say that everybody in the group immediately started like casting a wide net as to like what would be something that would be really different to play.
Really, you said that, and I kept being like, "But I could still be a troll."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You were still dancing around being a troll.
Troll, they're so good.
Yeah, yeah, but
I
yes,
wasn't gonna, but I wanted.
it's true. They're a great race. I mean, it's hard for me. Like when I was designing NPCs for the ship, I was like, I really want there to be a Klingon. Thank you, by the way, because you're giving me that fix, so I can like hit that button.
Happily.
But yeah, everyone cast a wide net. I'm really excited. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that we're not announcing characters tonight. We're going to be rolling that out on Twitter for the week. You guys are going to be seeing.
Where on Twitter? Where do they follow?
Oh.
That's going to be on the Clear Skies Twitter, which, by the way, is still at Shield of Tomorrow. That's our new Twitter account that we're using. So Clear Skies, all the information is coming through there, and we're going to be rolling that out throughout the week. But we can tonight, however, tell you who the captain of our ship is.
Captain Sage. Just kidding.
Oh, hey, Velocity from LDN came in.
Yes. So stay tuned to Twitter, and whoever the captain is, if they want to say something, they can say something now.
I should stand up.
Go ahead.
They-
Ray.
That's funny.
Wah, wah,
That's
wah.
very, very funny.
So who is the captain, you
Yeah,
guys?
who's the captain?
Who is the captain of our vessel? Can anyone guess who?
I'm
could
very
be?
excited.
Who could the captain of our vessel be? Is it someone that is very?
Hey, Hector, I have a question. How do you captain a Starfleet vessel?
Could you?
Do whatever the
instruction manual?
fuck you want. Dab.
You can't just say that.
You can say dab. You do whatever you want. Captain.
Introducing Captain Sam Delev, everyone.
Captain.
He's our captain. Oh, Captain, my captain.
Oh, that's so exciting.
We're so
Captain.
excited.
That is so
So
exciting.
yeah.
Super excited to
I
announce
have
it.
some shoes to fill, dude.
No, I was just playing Kirk. It's easy. You
The
can do better
secrets
than
of
that.
Martinez.
I
was
expect
just-
better from you, Sam.
Well, good. Thank you for relieving the pressure. That made it a lot
You
easier.
are relieved.
Oh, fantastic.
Here is a real fun question for some of the newbies joining the crew. This is from FT Kaiboy.
Oh yeah.
Asks,
Okay.
how have you felt with the support of the Ox crew? And Aki and Revity, how has it been joining in the crew with this level of support?
You want to go first?
Yeah, kicking you
man,
3
you
times
go
a day.
first.
Like this
I'll
kind of
go
support.
first.
What's
All
it
right,
like?
so I obviously came into all of this in a very kind of interesting, weird, roundabout way because I started off as just a mod and a fan like all of you in chat.
And thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Mods.
Thank you.
Thank you, mods. They're the greatest. And so when I was first invited to actually be in a game, I wasn't sure how people would react to the fact that I was just a fan, and a mod. And I was really expecting a lot of backlash, to be perfectly honest. And taking the risk and moving to LA and I remember the phone call where Eric asked me to be on the show and everybody supported his metal a lot. And now I'm a freaking producer on the show. So it's like,
You're the
Yeah.
best producer.
so
Nothing would have been done.
You are keeping the warp core running
Yeah.
right now.
So, I mean, yeah, all of your support has meant a lot to me because it makes me feel as though, like, I found a home here and it's really cool.
Welcome home.
Welcome home to the
Welcome.
clear skies.
Mhm.
You've had an
mine's
awful
not-
experience.
Yeah, complete opposite. Get out.
No, I think that the reason I avoided Star Trek for so long was because I was worried that I had I was like, oh, missed the train,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
just missed
Yeah.
it.
It's
Like
a
that's
lot.
going to be
It's
a
a lot.
fandom. I'm just not going to get on. And then if I try to get on it, people are going to make fun of me because I don't know enough.
Right.
And I feel like the support of the Ox crew, like immediately I was like, oh no, this is like a safe space. Like immediately I was like, oh no, this is like how I want to introduce myself to Star Trek. So it's been that way since day one.
It's
so,
been.
yeah.
Oh, don't do that.
You did it!
Sorry.
Fun
Sorry.
fact: even if you are a Trekkie and know a lot about Star Trek, you still get gatekeeped.
It's
Oh.
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not with this group, and not with our Ox crew is
Dude,
amazing.
I felt
But I
nothing but
still
support.
have to fact check myself and I consider myself a huge Trekkie, but I still get like, are you?
I don't know.
And I'm like,
Check.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
half of what there is to know about Trek. And I
it's
don't
a,
give a
it's a lot.
fuck.
It's a lot.
Well, it's hard because I know everything, so. Just kidding.
I got a follow-up question, actually.
Yeah.
Grendel's Mater asks, Eric dropped recently that Aki is the Clear Skies producer. Is there a short anecdote on something they've helped with in hopes of seeing them blush monster on screen?
Yes.
Everything.
So I've been developing Clear Skies since before I found out Callisto was coming to an end, because I wasn't sure if it was going to become the next incarnation of Shield of Tomorrow, if it was going to become something totally new. And ever since then, I have been moving pieces. I mean, Sam's been there for most of it, watching me move all the pieces and have all the meetings and call all the people and try to figure out if it's possible to do another Star Trek campaign. When we realized that this was all wrapping up and we were gonna go independent, then it became very challenging, and there were all new kinds of things. I got to point out that everybody is here because they love doing this. It's asking a lot of somebody's time for 3 hours a week, even though it's a game and even though we're kind of family and stuff like that. In this town, this very expensive town, you're asking for a lot when you ask, hey, can you commit to a 3 hour a week live stream where we game and stuff? So lots of stuff had to fall into place, and it was hurting cats because there's no other way. You have to make it work for everybody. Do you know what I mean? it has to not only fit into people's schedules, but it has to be something that it's fun. It can't feel like a chore. So I was juggling a lot of plates, a whole lot of plates. And then when I asked Aki to join Clear Skies, what just kind of started happening was Aki started organizing all of my shit. It was kind of like somebody came into my room, and then I came back from taking a shower and my room was clean. And it was kind of like...
Metaphorically, that didn't
Metaphorically, it didn't actually happen. Though I'm going to keep my eye on Aki, because I don't know. They might organize like my books or something, but like...
I'm gonna come in the night and
I'm gonna
get
wake up
on your chat.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be like,
So what? Yes.
Nightbot.
So what ended up happening is Aki like pulled the trigger on the Trello board and like started organizing everything, and it was just like Hindsight, just like organize, and I was like, hey, since you're kind of already doing it, do you want to produce the show with me? Like, you kind of already are doing it, so I think let's just make this official. And if we ever get up and rolling and things happen, then so Aki's been instrumental because as somebody who struggles with executive order dysfunction, this has not been easy for me. This has been very difficult. At GNS, I had a big team that helped me put all this stuff together. I had Sax Carr, I had Eddie Doty, I had I had Holly, I had everybody on the stage. Like this was all me, and it was really rough. And Sam helped out where they could, and but what we needed was Aki.
We needed a producer.
we needed an Aki. That was the one missing element, and it's helped glue everything together and get everything going. So
I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh, good. As long as it's still fun.
So,
Yeah, we're just like, have we broken that?
No, I'm having a lot of fun. You don't understand. My type A personality needed this really badly.
Thank goodness, because I would have been
Yeah.
No, I would have gone insane otherwise. I had nothing else to do with my time. So
Here's a question for everybody, or rather, probably Eric. At McPrime asks, is there any specifics that they can say now, like time period, or will we have to contain ourselves for one more week?
No, I can tell you time period. We've already announced it. It's actually, is it 6 years? I think it's 6 years. 6 years after Voyager returned from her long journey.
You're going to have a lot of stuff on the table to play with.
Because,
oh, man.
So this is going to take place before the destruction of Romulus.
Yep.
Yes.
And this is going to take place before Picard, but it's after the Dominion War has long ended now. So the reason why this period was particularly juicy to me is because we're watching a galaxy put itself back together again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're watching the relationships between governments has changed now. Do you know what I mean? Because insurrection has happened, and is that the name of the Star Trek movie with the Romulans? Nemesis was it? Nemesis has already
Tom
happened.
Hardy.
Which I completely forgot that was Tom Hardy.
Weird.
Yeah,
So weird.
a little weird.
He's too skinny.
He was so skinny.
The lips, though,
but
still there.
But this is after Nemesis, so this is actually going to be taking place during a whole new galaxy has shown up. And so,
not counting Picard, it will be the furthest thing
correct.
in
Right.
the future.
Not counting Picard, and then Discovery, of course, which is leaving 900 years in the
Whoa!
future.
Whoa,
man.
But so that'll be the window. That'll be the time period in which it takes place.
And the game, Star Trek Online.
And Star Trek Online, I think takes place 30 years. So we're like,
There's like the
We're like a puzzle piece.
we're in
of
that
Tetris.
window before all of that happens, which is great because there's a lot of build up, and we can certainly do time jumps if we want. We have a lot of options.
Here's a juicy one. We've only got a few minutes before the break.
Okay.
Dark of Nate asks, will Eliza's character show up on the main series as a guest star? Follow-up, Aria Flame asks, is the same cast going to be in both campaigns apart from Eliza? What can we say?
We can already. I will tell you that yes, you will probably see Eliza's Klingon captain showing up in episodes of Clear Skies. It's going to be. I'm not going to do the Joss Whedon thing where I'm like, no. Angel and Buffy are separate shows. I'm going to be like, no. Klingon captain is probably going to show up in Clear Skies at some point. Who doesn't want to see Klingon Captain Eliza and Captain Sam have scenes together?
Feel no sand.
Mountain Climbers Club.
Yeah.
Don't even have either of their names. I don't care.
The shipping has already begun.
Here's a great question.
Y'all know I'm with Klingons on that.
This is from Might Be a Bad Idea. Might be a bad idea. Asks, with a second campaign going concurrently, is it possible that there will be vast-style unification sessions every so often?
It's possible.
Whoa.
It's entirely possible. It'll depend.
Whoa.
It'll depend on what we are capable of doing. The unification episodes of Vast were incredibly ambitious, and I would
people were on that show.
Yeah.
Not exaggerating.
Because here's the thing. I have players that have needs. I will not go over 3 hours. So I would love to do that. So I will say this. We can say this, that one of the ways it's going to make that possible is we can go ahead and tell you guys, we don't have announcements to make of who the Klingon crew is besides the captain just yet, but I can tell you it's going to be a smaller group. It's going to be 4 players, including Eliza. So it's going to be three other players, which will make crossover very feasible. As opposed to having 12 players at the table.
That's the same number as Vast.
So what we might do is we might just we might mix casts and we'll figure it out. But I mean the exciting thing is we have the option, which is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, it is 7:30, so it's time for us to open up our hailing frequencies and go on break. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
10 minutes, don't go anywhere. Big announcements coming up.
Incredible announcement in the next half, so stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Oh, God.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this Clear Skies informal Q and Gay / hangout.
Yeah, it is.
You and Gay.
We have a huge announcement coming soon, but I want to try to get through as many of these amazing questions as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So please, if you hear one that you think you can answer, chime in. Aleph Sharp asks, question, everyone who's seen it, including Hector, thoughts on the original series episode, A Taste of Armageddon. And that was the episode where Kirk and the crew find a planet that they're engaging like a digital war.
Oh, yes.
Except that whenever they have like casualties, they have to send people to a real like death chamber because they're like, we just lost 800 people on the eastern coast. Well,
It's
now they
a
all have to
wild
die.
episode.
But it was all just digital because they did that instead of destroying buildings
And
and
land.
land and the society had
I
evolved to
have
that
not
point.
seen that
It's a
episode.
wild
Yeah.
episode.
It's
Any
super
thoughts, anybody?
cool.
This is the kind of thing that I liked in original Trek, and I like what Trek does. It explores these concepts of what if society as it exists here on Earth was totally different. Or if they thought of a solution that we didn't think of, what would that look like?
Yeah.
And it's fun to play in that space and to visit a planet that looks like Earth in the 1920s, but, it's a different planet, not just a convenience set.
That one is also so tied into being a Cold War era show.
Right.
And war games and simulations in that. And so like so much of original series, it's
I'm
like
sure
that as a commentary.
it's a foundation for things like Ender's Game or other
Right.
or
Yeah.
Last Starfighter, different things that have that concept.
Well, with an episode like that, it's very Black Mirror-esque too.
I was
Right.
going to say Black
Yes.
Mirror.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
very,
it says.
it's
Whoa, Black Mirror.
basically like showing what technology could
That
do to
and-
change and
Yeah,
Stuff
that
like
and
that.
Twilight Zone would
And
have
Twilight
changed
Zone.
in
Yeah.
the
So-
60s.
yeah,
Yep.
and Star Trek very much led the pioneering of that with the sci-fi genre.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of the writers from Twilight Zone left and went over to write for Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm. Yeah,
That
that's
explains a lot.
yeah. It's
actually.
why some of those episodes are so amazing and interesting,
And disturbing.
Yeah.
It's scary. Some
Yeah.
of the things like, oh gosh, what if we
I
did
don't
that?
I don't know if this name is VA Gamer Girl
Uh-huh.
2378. But it's VA Gamer Girl, which is probably Virginia. Maybe.
Yes.
But I also just read it as Vajamer Girl. And I love that too. I think that's great. Either way, VA Gamer Girl asked, "What is the address where we can send you all stuff?"
Oh.
Thank you for
reminding
announcing,
us.
because I forgot we were announcing that tonight. Actually,
Yeah.
box.
There is a PO box that if for any of you having,
I'm looking at it right now. Bam.
So if any of you have the PO box for the Library Bards,
Hey.
it's actually we're just gonna use our PO box because it's right down the street, and
Wonderful.
we might as well put it to good use and make it the community PO box because there's no
you,
reason to
thank
get
you.
another one.
Thank you for opening your box
Smart.
to us.
Oh no!
So my box is your box. So
No, that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay,
Producer Cap thing. I think we're gonna put the link
Yes.
or the address officially up on the Clear Skies Twitter,
Yeah.
probably right after this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
That'll be
probably
better.
also get it pinned in
In
the
Discords.
Discord.
Yeah.
right.
There's a Discord?
Oh,
There's-
there are
yeah.
2 Discords.
Tell us.
What's it about?
The first Discord is the fan Discord that I highly recommend everyone check out. That is the Discord that started back in the days of Eric's TBD RPG. Moonsrain started up that Discord as a fan Discord for the fans of our blossoming little young group. And it has grown to 900 members now, 900 plus members. And it is the fan Discord for all of our shows. I have a private Discord for my Patreon, the League of Whimsy. And I'll be posting it up there too. That just launched, and that's been insane because y'all are all...
Beautiful and successful, and thank you for treating Campbell as he deserves.
As the treasure he is.
Okay.
I have a
So,
private Discord for my feet pics, so you could join that.
for your feet pics?
Yeah.
And I have a private one for my Frodo Baggins feet pics. That I
That's
send
all for
out.
the non-canon shippy art.
Ooh.
That none of you get to see.
How do you join the Discord?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
For people like me who don't know how,
Oh, we can send out links.
Yeah, we should do that
post
on
links.
Twitter
Yeah.
too.
Just
Yes,
click on the link.
Twitter,
and
and there are probably links going up in chat right now.
yeah.
We could even put the address to the PO box in the bio of Clear Skies too. Like that's what we do. Or
pinned it.
We pinned
Oh,
it.
Pinned a
Yeah.
tweet.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Great.
Question for anybody. Capt_Waterflame asks, if you could mash together rules from 2 or more RPGs, which ones would you mash together?
Oh,
You go.
I knew you were gonna
have
look at
an
me.
answer to this one.
Go.
Well, yes.
I really like the Star Wars Fate system.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It is good.
It's good.
Man.
It's
I just-
wacky.
Yeah.
It's broke.
It's
but it's fun.
It's so much fun. Anyway, that's the so mash that with something else. Pick.
Before MechWarrior Destiny was announced, I really wanted to run a narrative RPG of Cypher System. But then when it was time to get into a mech and have combat, put the Cypher System away and pull out BattleTech and play a BattleTech game.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
that's
that
cool.
so that it's not really crossing the two systems. It's playing two systems as opposed to like meshing them. But my whole thing was I just wanted an RPG that would let me very easily narrate what living in the world of BattleTech. But then once they got into the mechs and went on missions, they could just pull out the minis and have the actual BattleTech game.
That's cool.
That was my dream.
Similarly,
I like the-
oh sorry.
Oh, I like the oh goodness, brain fart. In Overlight, there's this this mechanic where if you channel too much Overlight, you get like a crack.
Oh right,
Love that
yeah.
mechanic. It's so
Yeah.
good. The
It's
shatters.
the shatter. Thank you. I could not remember the name of it. Literally shatter. I said crack. Yes. But yeah, I really like that mechanic, and I think just adding that to basically any system is cool because it gives you like your character has like long-term consequences for the way they play and the way they channel their energy and things like that. So
Very cool.
I've always wanted to combine something like that's a story generating game like Icarus or something like that that's all backstory, and then play that in something like D&D or whatever,
Right.
and combine games that way that
Yep.
are different parts of what you were saying with BattleTech.
Microscope is great for that as well.
Oh right,
Yeah.
For
there's a
Hill
character
Folks,
generating game
Hill
too.
Folks, like Session Zero,
Yeah.
I very much like.
Dialect is really
Pretty much all of these
Yes.
are available on QueueTimes, by the way.
Combining
Oh,
Star Trek
no.
Adventures and D&D and rolling a D20 and going,
Spell Jam.
what do we do?
You're gonna cause Sam's head to explode in like 5 seconds.
Well, I don't think have we announced that we're officially playing Star Trek Adventures
Yes.
from
Well, you
Modiphius.
just did either way.
Yeah. No. Everybody knows. Yeah. No. We.
Oh, we're not just playing Jackson's Trek system.
Yeah.
Well,
No, so like originally this was interestingly enough, this was going to be Decipher. Because when we were launching Shield of Tomorrow, I didn't know Modiphius had a Star Trek game
Right.
coming out.
Right.
So I had burned all my money on my tax return on collecting these out-of-print Decipher system books. And Decipher is a game company that's been out of...
It comes from Bizarro World.
Yeah, where it's
Cyber
nice.
system.
Yeah.
oh, wait,
Decipher's-
I took you seriously, and I was like, oh.
I know, that would be, it sounds like a publisher. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm a
It
dick.
does.
But then-
100%.
I'm starting
then,
that one.
Yeah, but then Googling and then finding out that there was a new Star Trek game coming out and reaching out to Modiphius, and they were like, here's our alpha rule set. And I was like, and the rest is
Oh my
history.
God. Yeah.
Yep.
perfect.
Next question. This is for Sam. This is from Mischief7 Manager. Coming off of co-creating the world of Callisto 6 with Eric, are you going to be at all involved with the world building in this campaign?
No.
Excellent. Next question. I can handle this one. New Moonlight asks, will there be episodes of Sam Loses Their Shit on Clear Skies?
No,
Yes.
I will definitely always
Yes.
have my shit together.
The answer is hell yes.
And please see the PO box.
Let's see. Let's make it a hat trick and see if you can make us all lose our shit.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We want to be shitless.
Oh, it's a Pip show.
That's his job scaring us.
Here's a great question I think can lead to a great discussion. Serotonia asks, we all joke and call clear skies queer skies, but just how queer will our skies be?
So
Jesus.
weird.
Gays.
So weird. There are so many gays in this space.
Look at the cast.
Hello.
Nuns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a single straight happening.
I
The
think
pizza with
that-
left beef.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't have this sort of producer level with Geek and Sundry or any other company before, but I think even at the Geek and Sundry level, I never remember encountering any sort of like, you hear the things about, oh, Oscar Isaac wants to play Poe as gay in the new Star Wars, but apparently Disney wasn't like ready. All these kinds of things you hear about these huge
We wrote a
corporations
song about
and
it.
movie studios and whatever when it comes to in terms of representation. And I feel like whether it's Callisto 6, Shield of Tomorrow, whatever else we've done at this level, I haven't encountered anything. And the beauty of it is now being super independent, we will definitely not encounter any sort of like hesitance or I don't know, just because I think I can only speak for myself, but when you're putting on a show like this, I think that we always consider just representing the world as it is, and it's kind of a no-brainer for us. And we have the beautiful potential to do that, and there is no hindrance, and there's no weird like, should we do that? I don't know, because it's just like we're just being people, and this is how people are,
Not only the world that it is, but the world as it could be.
as it could
Yeah.
be.
And this is I like to keep things positive, and I'm usually very diplomatic about stuff because I know that everybody has a story. I know that it's a big dynamic world, but I officially plant my foot into the mindset, and I will say this openly, and that there's just no excuse for not having a diverse cast. There's just none.
Yeah.
You don't have an excuse.
Yep.
If you got an all-white cast, you don't have an excuse. You just don't.
Especially if it's like a setting like this, if it's a science fiction, you know what I mean? Where you guys aren't doing Little Women, the RPG. Like, there's no real.
I'm down though.
So much. I'm not saying you couldn't, but like,
I should clarify though, because that doesn't necessarily apply to people like when we were first starting out this live stream business. Really, like the one thing that I like to constantly come back at, because they took flack for this for a while, but Critical Role is a good example of that's not really a cast.
Right.
We call them a cast, but that's a group of friends that were playing D&D, and Felicia's like, hey, can we turn the camera on you guys? The other shows that have been created since then, that has been cast. That is like, hey, let's choose players to come together.
when you cast a show.
And when you actually cast the show,
Yeah.
when you are in a position to do that, I just don't. There's no excuse.
No.
Like and the quality of what you're going to experience and the story you're going to tell is going to suffer immensely when you're not representing who we are as humans.
That's very true.
It's just.
See those old episodes of Star Trek that aren't great.
Yep.
You go, what is this writer's room? Okay.
Yeah.
This could have been solved with one person going, no, we shouldn't do that.
Actually,
That's all it is.
Yeah, we could not do that with pilot.
Next question from Zach Hall. Do you have an all-time favorite Trek episode? We've kind of talked about a
kinda did
couple.
that a
Oh
little bit.
man.
So just any come to mind.
Yeah,
Lisa?
Devil in the Dark
Devil
for
in
sure.
the Dark.
I'm just
Devil in the
gonna
Dark.
read
Boom. I love Measure of a Man.
Yeah,
Good one.
Measure of Man.
Measure of a Man is
Good
so
data
good.
episode.
just
Data?
the titles are great.
Yeah.
The last
I-
episode of Deep Space Nine will always give me a certain level of ennui.
I'm
Oh,
not listening. I haven't watched it.
all the last episodes are great.
It's very difficult for me to pick because mine always go. I always go back and forth. Like right now, I keep going back and watching. Oh God, I can't remember the name of the episode. It's one of the most iconic episodes of DS9. The one where the Romulan. It's the one where the Romulans declare war. Garrick is used.
I actually just
Pale Moonlight.
watched one.
That
Pale
one-
Moonlight.
Yeah.
It's
That
one of
one
the
is
most iconic
intense.
episodes.
It's so intense.
It also has some of the most iconic cheesy, like it's a fake.
Yeah.
But the episodes that never left me, for whatever reasons, the ones that never left me, there's two, and I'm so sorry to do this to you guys, but one of them is the episode with Lal,
Oh.
I love Law.
Data's daughter.
That
when
one's
he
so,
when he
that
built
was so
good.
heartbreaking.
She okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't catch me.
when
Everything's
she
fine. Everything ends up fine.
Everything's
Yeah, it's
fine.
such a happy,
Watch the
happy
episode.
episode. Very
Such
great.
a good episode.
Just the writing and the performance from start to finish is just like I'm remembering the lines in my head, and it's just amazing. But there's one episode in particular called Cause and Effect that blew my damn mind when I was watching that as a
What
kid.
happens in
What
it?
is that
The
one?
episode opens with the Enterprise being destroyed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
It's
Oh,
Picard
that's
saying
right.
all hands abandon ship, all hands, and then it
That's right.
explodes. And then when the episode comes back from credits,
You're
it
like,
starts
what?
like a normal Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
Does not
Those
give
are
you.
great.
It does not explain it to. It's like that's Star Trek going back to its classic Twilight Zone influenced roots.
Yes. It
And-
also is a really good example of like a good crew episode.
Yeah,
Because a lot
everyone.
of people are like, oh, the inner light and
Right, but it's focused on the
all the
captain.
like the Darmok, like all the captain focused episodes
Those
are
are great.
great. Star
Yeah.
Trek,
Yeah.
but Star Trek is about a family and a crew,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and Cause and Effect is such a great ensemble episode.
Yeah,
I have-
that episode never left me, and I ended actually, and to close that out, that episode stuck with me for so much that I ended up writing a short story in my high school literary magazine and won first place, and it was
Wow.
inspired by that
Congratulations.
episode.
It's where you started where your high school blew up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And at
6
that,
hours earlier.
yeah, at that time that didn't raise any questions.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gotta be
There's-
a tier. Access to that story.
There's one episode with Data in particular where it's that whole conflict of him having
Where he's,
emotion. Well, I can't remember the name of the episode where basically Picard goes to court for him.
Yeah,
that's a
Measure
Measure Man.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
Measure Man? Okay, I didn't know the name of it. I couldn't
It
remember
is.
the name of it.
That is
That one
fabulous
just
episode.
So
gets
good.
me every time because it really shows like what it
Oh,
is to be human.
Remember when he activates the Yar hologram
Oh.
from Data and
Yeah.
asks?
That was so botched.
We're gonna
that
make you
whole
a
thing.
list.
I
You're
can't
gonna-
wait.
Aki, you have a
I
you got
already
one?
have a list.
Well, I
Make my way
mean, this one may or may not count, but Antonella Plays for the First Time is my favorite Trek episode of all time.
What was it?
I go back
That
and watch.
sounds-
I go back and watch that episode. I
It's so
frequently
good.
go back and watch moments from Shield of Tomorrow that I cannot let go of. And I'm going to give you guys real quick to wrap that up. I'm going to give you guys a list of my favorite moments from Shield of Tomorrow that I constantly go back and watch, and there are a lot. So it's not a ranking. This is just where I go back. I love all of everything we did with I Remember.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Particularly Martinez.
Yeah.
And Martinez is Hector. Your moment, Martinez fighting to save his comrade from being expelled from Starfleet Academy. Like running that scene with you was just incredible. The next,
I was sitting
That's
in
it.
the
We got him to
studio for
confess.
that.
We got him.
when Lark learns her full name, and then it's revealed that she heard it in I Remember. That whole scene.
I just got goosebumps. And you can't believe-
And when you and Lark realize your joined ancestry is
Yeah.
like,
my god, my
that-
sister.
that was amazing. Your moment with your when you went and like looking at your grandfather's stuff, like that was good. It was oh god, the Cadence art. The other one though, there was just so many. I remember there was the one that really kicked my ass though. That I honestly go back and watch time and time again, and I'm not trying to like blow my own horn here. This is all Gina DeVivo, but it's the Gina and Jiv farewell because
Gina's so good.
because every time I get
She's in
one-on-one
here.
time with Gina, we for whatever reason Gina and I are able to play like the Hawksport episode of Callisto 6 is a further testament that when Gina and I can play off of each other. She brings everything to life in a way that is just unbelievable, and
She's very good.
she's
That's
quite
the reason
amazing.
I passed college.
What?
Yeah, I remember you telling me Gina's the reason you passed college.
What?
Gina and Rave go way back.
Yeah.
The one moment that I go and relive over and over and over, going back and watching our Shield of Tomorrow run through is, oh god, I'm gonna get emotional. It's when we have that quiet moment after I say the words, "These were the voyages of the USS Sally Ride," because we just wrapped up. Like that was the moment where we just wrapped the story, and none of us knew what the hell to say.
We were all just sitting there crying.
We were
Yeah,
just
That was before
bawling.
we did our epilogue episode, right?
that was the epilogue.
That was
right at the end.
That was right at the end. That was
Man.
right at the end when we watched
Man.
Sally sail, and that was just.
Also, can we just give a shout out to how great Hector looked with gray hair?
Yeah.
Oh man, Silver Fox
Oh, my
Hector
Silver Fox
was
Hector.
trending. Everyone,
Also,
I mean, even Lark raised an eye.
yeah. No, I remember hearing Eliza just go.
Accurate, yeah.
Ooh, I have an Eliza story.
Oh, tell us. Eliza.
So, because I would watch the show or listen to the show as like a podcast type of thing as when I wasn't on it, and one of the times I think that they started the audio before the visual happened,
Oh, I remember this.
and you heard just Eliza playing the Vulcan character, like getting ready. You just go, my pips. Gotta adjust my pips. Sorry. Are my pips good? Okay, we can start now. And like they left it in.
Love it.
Get your pips together!
Get your pips
That's
together.
There's so many pictures.
Here's a fun question. High Voltage 988 asks everybody, do you have a favorite Trek alien species? I go Vulcan. Klingon.
Vulcan's a
True.
good one.
I go Vulcan. Vulcan's just the go-to. Vulcan's just the classic.
Vulcans are
sci-fi
amazing.
I feel like
standard.
I can't say mine.
You can't say yours.
Why not?
Because it's a
it would be
giveaway.
one. You know.
If you don't want to
can't say yours.
You don't want
Ironically, Binar.
Uh-huh.
Binar's a rad
Nice.
classic.
I love
Yeah.
Binar.
Wait,
Good
what's
TNG.
what are Binar?
They're from TNG. Go ahead
The
and
TNG, the Binars, they're 001 and the joined dyad
pairs.
that they would always show up in pairs, and they
Was
were
that the one?
they tried to kidnap the Enterprise.
They look
and
like a big fish people?
Kind of, yes. And they tried to take the Enterprise back
what's
to their
his-
planet because it was dying.
And I think what's his name? Like the guitarist Tom Morello, I think played one of them.
What?
You're thinking of. I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking about
different species.
You're thinking about
But
those fish
this is
species that
the
beamed
episode,
in.
This is
Yes.
the episode that what's her face showed up in. The guy, the woman that
That Wesley ended
that
up falling in love with.
that Commander Riker ended up falling in love with.
Oh, that
from
does
the-
not narrow
from
it
the,
down.
From the hologram that he fell in love with.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh,
That's
wow,
right.
What was her name?
Good
why
design.
am I blanking on her name?
I don't remember, but
They basically
that-
used her to distract Riker while they took the ship.
right.
Oh God,
What a trash boy.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Riker,
It's
he's
love.
learned
I
that
love him.
Riker, I love Riker, but man, he pisses me off every time he tells Ro to take off her earring. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
always
know.
made me mad.
If Kira
I'd
Nerys
seen
was
Rose
here, she would just knock you on your ass, bro.
Yeah, I would watch that fight though.
Oh, absolutely.
That would not go well for
It wouldn't
Riker.
last
Yeah.
very long.
That would not
I
go
know.
well for
I was like,
Riker.
Kara would knock him
It's
down.
it's funny because my favorite era is Voyager because that's where I really connected, and Neelix was a character that I hated.
We both agree
We
on
both
this.
hated
Yeah.
See, that's that writing that I'm talking about,
But-
where it's like, buddy, come on.
And I
They
realized
did him
that
no
I
favors.
am Neelix.
No,
and that's what I would be
you're
on the
better.
ship.
No,
Well, no,
I like
No, but like
Neelix.
his growth and the arc.
It's great.
Of just, I want to be helpful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Neelix is the Hobbit of
Exactly.
Star
Yeah.
Trek.
So I have a certain soft spot for Talaxians now.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
would-
I
I
hate
would-
to say it, my favorite are they actually are Borg.
Lorian.
Wow.
Wow.
Lorian.
It's the most interesting, cool sci-fi.
It's true.
Like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Still
love
bad
that
and
it
horrifying,
expands
but-
like different
Yeah.
ways of being, and it invites me constantly to wonder where the frack did that come from?
Yeah.
Did someone at some point think that like joining brains was a good idea?
Right,
like,
right.
was this done from something that was like it raises mysteries
I wonder
and
if
it's
we'll
good
get
sci-fi.
some answers in Picard.
Man,
I hope
I think so.
I am holding my breath.
Sorry.
I so
I know,
desperately
I know,
want to
this
see
is the
Whoopi
problem.
appear in Picard.
Oh,
She's
gonna.
got to.
Whoopi, I
Oh,
need
okay.
to see. Guinan is my favorite Star Trek
think they're
character.
gonna
I
pull
need
out
to
all
see
the
her.
stops. I think they're going to pull out all the stops.
I think so.
Picard is premiering January 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
CBS.
Give
All
us
Access.
that little
So
show
excited.
some love.
Yeah.
This is
It's
And
on
at
the
least we
program.
really want to make sure it succeeds.
Yeah.
We
So
should live tweet that.
Good month.
the week before that.
What's that?
Is
I
Disco
think
the
I think
week
it's
before?
week after.
I think
I think it's
later.
after.
No, no,
Okay,
it's just
after?
Picard.
I thought
Yeah.
it was like later.
It's just
Did they
Picard,
announce the
and then
date?
later
I
this
think
I
they
don't
did.
think so.
Wrong.
For
later this
Disco?
year, Star Trek Discovery season 3 is
Mhm.
premiering. But
The
after
entire
Picard.
answer is
Yeah,
already
like-
in Twitch chat.
Yeah,
I bet.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
give us the
Thanks,
answers.
Twitch.
Anyway,
What else we got?
well,
I'm used to
speaking of
being wrong.
Yeah.
So.
speaking about all of these alien races, next question from Ali Xadas asks, will more Trek races be included in this campaign, like Ferengi, Cardassians,
Yeah.
etc.?
Absolutely.
There,
Hit our
yes,
maximum.
this is going to be racially. This is going to be a much more diverse campaign in Star Trek because in Shield of Tomorrow, I had the Dominion War was really clogging up the works with the story in the background. So everything that was happening in the Alpha and Beta Quadrant was being influenced by what was going on with the Dominion
We
War.
were respecting canon. But
Yeah,
now-
we were kind of
No,
adjacent
we're
to
fine with
canon.
canon.
Screw canon.
The time period in which I've set us in is here's the thing is one of the great things that I love about the Shackleton Expanse source book is which is the Beta Quadrant source book, is it stresses that it points out that Shackleton is such a rich opportunity for the Federation because the Shackleton Expanse is largely unexplored, huge swath of the Milky Way that the Klingon Empire is just like, yeah, we don't really care. The Beta Quadrant has not been, the Federation has not ever really been able to explore the Beta Quadrant because of the Klingon and Romulan Star Empire. Now the Klingons and Federation are friends. They build Narendra Station together as a cooperative, and now you have this entire like swath of like this unexplored space. I feel like this is an excellent opportunity for other races to get involved and be like, oh my god, it's like the Wild West. It's like the gold rush of the Wild West.
Yes.
The Shackleton Expanse is this huge expanse of space that is unclaimed, and everyone's going to get interested in it now that the war is over.
Star Trek
So-
meets Firefly.
Except a lot less sexist.
I think that also answers, yes, this next question. Xenocore01 asks, with most of the species supplements now out, are we getting into any of the rare aliens in the UFP, United Federation of Planets? The answer is yes, it seems like.
Yep.
What era of Trek is the show set in? We've already answered that. WMD 1262. Kamabar asks, what part of the Star Trek Adventure System are y'all excited to get back to or get into?
Ship combat. No.
I'm gonna say ship combat.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. When STA came out, it was still spanking new. Like, we were learning the rules as they were being presented. You know what I mean? And we ended up kind of creating our own rules light version of STA as we and it worked brilliantly. Like, the system's flexible. You can do that. If we need to do that with Clear Skies, we will. But in truth, I think at this point, I've become so much more comfortable with the system, and we've had a lot longer to develop the show and play, that I'm actually looking forward to. Now that I understand ship combat and the drama of ship combat, I'm looking forward to experiencing that. Plus, oh, I know I can't say that.
Yeah, I can't actually share what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we can share.
Feel some stuff.
I can't say it.
Maybe we can say we're excited to be
We'll
doing
be-
something different than what we were doing.
Be able to say it probably by the end of this episode.
I got some. We've got 25 minutes left, and again, that big announcement coming. But I've got 2 questions that I am purposefully asking back to back.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make them leading questions.
Okay.
Here's the first question. DJ Theonix asks, Eric, will there actually be a holodeck episode? Next question. Cat Waterflame asks, will there be a musical episode?
I feel like we have to now.
Star
Maybe
Trek ever
with
done a
this
musical episode?
No.
Because I was like, Eric, why was that not on my watch list? Have fun,
Yep.
goodbye.
Oh, it's happening. I feel like we could knock it off.
There's music in Star Trek.
Okay,
Characters play instruments, and characters sing.
Tune over my lads, let your hearts never fear.
all over Voyager with
And
Ryan.
Dick
does not want to
Fontaine.
sing.
The amazing
TOS.
And Spock's
Odo
playing.
played piano
And
and
Star
just.
Trek 5?
Nichelle
play jazz
Nichols
piano.
had this beautiful little song that she sang in the original series when Leonard Nimoy was on like a sitar or something.
Have you seen the Square Treks version of that?
I haven't.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, she sings a little ode to Spock, and
Yeah.
you're like, are they a thing? And not until J.J. Abrams was he like, yes, they're a thing.
I
work
say
for
we
Which is
do
why
a musical
probably
episode in the holodeck and just take care
That's
of
the answer.
There it is.
Birds,
That's
one
the
stone.
answer.
one stone.
I feel like that's the only way.
Kathy
it
goes on
works.
a
Stones at birds.
But I can't give away if there's going to be a holodeck episode.
Those
or not.
birds
Yeah.
deserved it. Sam.
We don't know.
I don't know.
Question for
Birds
Sam
were happy.
from VA Gamer Girl. Question for Sam.
Okay.
How excited are you?
Oh gosh. It's a whole ship.
Nope.
And I'm captain of the ship. Which
Yeah,
is
you are.
They're
Does
going
it
to be
feel-
so excellent. You guys don't even understand.
You don't
They're gonna
even
be
understand.
So good.
Sam, I what I love about this is I tell Sam, I'm like, everything you're feeling right now is exactly what a new starship captain is going to feel.
Which is crazy. to
Hey,
think.
for all you know, maybe my captain's actually on top of their shit. It's acting.
Yeah.
Acting.
Next question. Marimo132 asks, without giving anything away, is there a particular other player's character you're
Yes.
excited to see develop?
Yes. Yes.
All of them.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah, everyone's gotten introduced to everybody's character at this point,
Yeah.
and I'll have to tell you about it because it's pretty interesting. But
It's
amazing.
great.
but yeah, you'll see when we start rolling out the character stuff this week.
You'll understand
You're
why I answered
not
immediately.
ready.
Yeah.
Vance1982 asks, question for Xander. How happy are you with being so dang busy between Clear Skies and LA by Night?
Yeah.
So happy. Because
Yes.
it's a little scary when a big old thing goes away, huh? And that's your job, huh?
Yep.
But I do have some things to work on.
Yep. Shards of Blue asks, I would just like to know what the beverage of choice will be for these new adventures.
Royal and Ale.
Wow, yeah.
I actually already have that figured out, and I'm not going to say.
Right.
And it'll happen organically?
When we were at Star Trek Las Vegas, right after we left that, when I got home, I immediately found online that someone had posted all of the ingredients of the drinks that they were serving. So I've
That
got,
Roctagino.
I've got the Roctagino.
Oh.
So we need to make Roctaginos because that drink is
it's so
insane.
good.
I wanted
so
to
good.
guzzle that the entire
It's
night.
so good.
It's so good.
And
It's
it was
like it's like a coffee
It's chocolate.
drink.
Coffee
a lot
chocolate.
of
It's
alcohol,
chocolate. You would love
but
it. It's
was
chocolate.
so
Doesn't have
good.
coffee?
Like
It
liqueur.
does have coffee, but it's
No.
loaded with
No, no, no.
chocolate.
It's great.
Yeah,
It
I'll
was
try it.
good.
Baby, I'll try it.
It was
It's
so
fantastic.
I want it without the coffee.
You give it that coffee.
You can get it without
I
coffee.
don't know what my
I do
favorite
need
Star
to
Trek
figure out
like.
exactly what it is that my
drink.
character will like to drink.
Cream
Yeah.
soda.
I mean, yeah, I'm not really a tea Earl Grey guy.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like maybe it's
Janeway
stuff-
had coffee black.
Yeah.
not that either. So I'm probably
that's right.
whatever Dr. McCoy would drink because he's always
Whiskey.
sneaking
Whiskey.
Romulan ale and whiskey. And
Whiskey.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as Scotty.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
It
much.
took me
Yeah.
too long to know that Bones and McCoy were the same person.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like, they're the same.
There's
Couple-
coffee in that nebula. I saw someone in chat ask for that. You're welcome.
There's a couple different reasons for why his nickname is Bones canonically, but whatever.
The JJ
okay.
explanation was actually pretty damn clever.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, considering you can't really explain the real explanation to modern audiences, 'cause
Right.
they're gonna be like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
But '60s audiences will be like, "Yes, we call doctors Bones." Yes, I get it.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
New Moonlight asks, "We discussed queer representation. What about neurodivergent representation?"
Interesting.
What is neurodivergent representation?
I'm an example of neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am ADHD.
Very cool.
The same with Bonnie. And
Me
there's different there's a whole spectrum of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it. See, and I would love to see that in the future. Do you know what I mean? I would love to see how, in the same way that when you cut to 60s Star Trek, cutting to 80s Star Trek, one of the things that Gene Roddenberry did was, even though maybe story-wise it didn't pan out the best, but he was like, no, there's going to be a counselor on the ship.
Right.
Because in the 80s, it was starting to become more, it was like less stigmatized to go to therapy and seek counseling, right? And it's just like, it's interesting to see how medicine and how everybody sort of thinks about what people go through as the years go on. So I would love to
especially
see
on these
And
long journeys.
We did that with with Callisto. I mean, that was Lacey.
Lacey,
Yeah, I have
absolutely.
good news for you about 21 Tony and an autistic superhero.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Fuffy Butt asks, any interesting holodeck programs would you like to see or design?
Just
Holodeck
personally
programs?
or in the
Is
show?
Yeah, that would
Personally.
take LARPing to the next
Honestly,
level.
I would do what Picard was doing. I would go into Shakespeare, like live a Shakespearean play.
Bore
and
me to
perform that.
death. I'd do
Yeah,
superhero
no way.
movies. I would do
Superheroes?
Yeah.
Well,
It drove
I
me
am
nuts
The
that
Witcher.
characters in Star Trek were so well versed in like
Plus
the
one.
classics. I'm like,
Because that was public domain.
Yeah.
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 Sherlock Holmes, public
That's
domain.
I want to see an Avengers holodeck where every character is Hector Navarro.
A fistful of Hectors.
I would have a weekly D&D game where everyone showed up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a Star Trek episode where like Jean-Luc Picard was invited to the holodeck because they were doing like a crew morale thing, and they're booting up like something called the Avengers, and they each play it like Worf is like Hulk and like
Picard be?
Black Widow.
he would probably be.
He would be
Captain America.
no, he'd be
Captain
Nick
America.
Fury.
He'd be.
Let's see how
It's the
fun that
bald
would be.
thing.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Not Professor X, so we wouldn't go full meta with that.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be great. That'd be so
Whoa.
great. DJ Who asks, Eric, in terms of guests, will we perhaps get to see Brian Forrest?
Oh, I hope so.
Your
He would,
husband.
My husband.
He would love to come back.
Yeah.
He told me when Shield of Tomorrow was wrapping up that anytime if we ever did this again, that to call him. Like,
Cool.
I'll tell you guys right now, I've reached out to all of the old guests. I need to reach out to Dylan.
Nobody responded back.
Yeah, they all told me to go
That's
screw
not
myself. But yeah, I just had a chat with Jackson. I reached out to Joe. Like, we've reached out to all of our friends who helped us create Shield of Tomorrow.
So good.
And everyone's on board. They want to come back and play a new character.
I
So
think I can say a few old faces are already
Speaking
in the
of, I was about to say,
Yeah, it's
hey, you want to come? I'm just kidding.
it's true.
Yeah, I'll be a guest.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like,
Of
you're right
course.
here. He
Yeah.
hasn't
be fun.
responded to any of my calls.
It's gonna be fun trying to come up with the opposite of my last character,
Yeah.
the captain. It's
Ooh.
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Yeah.
I'll just play Zazrit.
Zazrit.
I was gonna say you need to play an
Play our
Orion.
stupid sexy, please.
Tat
sexy Hector.
Zelthes asks, if you were a Tribble, what color Tribble would you be, and what would your Tribble call
Well,
sound
you
like?
are a Tribble, aren't you?
I am a
Yeah.
Tribble.
Yep.
I am a Tribble.
Like
Do you
kinda
wanna explain
orange,
that?
cream colored, right?
Oh yeah, so if in Star Trek Online, if you have a Tribble in your inventory next to a cream soda from your replicator,
I think it's a specific cream soda, or is it?
I think
or
it's
a
just
daring.
cream-
No, it's cream soda. It's
No,
just cream
cream
soda.
soda.
Yeah.
it'll create a daring Tribble, which is kind of has a nice little reddish tone hair. Or fur, I should say, a Bajoran earring, and if you pet it, it will snort.
When Bonnie first saw that Tribble, we were at Star Trek Las Vegas, and we were right next to Garrett Wang's table.
Yeah.
And
I think he's
Your
put a
old
restraining
play.
order.
and Star Trek Online, the folks at Star Trek Online who are just like important people to us because they're so wonderful to us. they surprised us. We did not know that was happening. And when they told us it was happening, we had a freak out. But then they showed Bonnie that they'd already done it. And Bonnie, if I remember correctly, you literally fell flat on the floor. You went face first, like belly flopped onto the floor and laid there. And I remember Xander saying something about how dirty the floor was. And you'd get up and you would not get up. And I was like, no, she's done.
Like literally on the floor.
Yeah, she was screaming I'm a tribble over and over and over. Just like, and I want to say on that note too, I remember getting flooded with pictures of you with tears in your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got those pictures of Captain Talon on the USS Sally Ride, which you can still find in Star Trek Online.
So
and
cool.
I believe
So
Stupid
cool.
Sexy Zazert's still around hanging.
Yep,
Right.
Zazrid's still on DS9.
And though you cannot find her, I'm pretty sure Dot's floating around on that ship somewhere too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A funny bit about that story too is that what tops it all off is that Bonnie is trying to explain the whole thing to Garrett Wang by going, "You don't understand. It's this role-playing game where I play
Just
Star
digging
Trek."
deeper
and it's
and
like,
deeper.
Bonnie, you're not helping.
And then I was like, we went on a date.
No.
That was the clincher. That was the clincher.
I was
When you
like,
walked up
you
to
took
Garrett
me out
Wang
to coffee.
and you told him that your fictional character dated his fictional character.
I rejected him.
And rejected
I
him.
didn't. In my defense, I did not know it was a date. It was just very awkward, and I think he
was-
has a thing for aliens.
He was
That's
very
not-
gracious because Garrett was very
No,
gracious.
I'm so glad he didn't serve me restraining orders. Thank
Hey,
you,
I
Garrett
also-
Wang, if you're watching. Thanks.
By the way, I also told everybody the story of you and Robert Picardo on the elevator.
Oh,
Yeah.
When we were trying to get him to sign something, and he was like, "You better hurry."
Yeah, it was
Close
like dun dun dun, like the elevator music,
Yeah.
like Girlfriend Inconvenient was playing. And we're like,
Also, in the lift.
yep.
Yeah.
Definitely the turbo lift.
F
Anywho.
Day Fan asks,
Oh, yeah.
did Sam do the art for this show?
Yes.
Well,
Spoilers.
Boom.
Yes.
Spoilers.
I have a question for
And,
them.
and when you see it,
How
your
did
mind's
You're
going to be
gonna
blown.
lose your freaking
And you
mind.
make
It's so
sure
good.
to tell Sam how much you love it
It's
because
so
it is
good.
mind-blowingly good.
They
so good.
They have blown us all away.
It is
They made Elisa cry.
mind-blowingly
It's
good.
so good.
Elisa,
true.
Crying
When we
at the
came back
top
from
of
break,
this-
Eliza was crying because Eliza saw Sam's art.
It's so good. And
Yo.
how did you figure it out?
yeah, how did you know?
You know that
Answer our
commission
question.
yeah.
I was doing? It's this.
It's this.
I'm an official
Sam-
artist. Hi.
Sam is a new visual. Sam has been hammering out everyone's character portrait.
It's so beautiful.
They're
Um,
amazing.
So good.
So
it
good.
was the right choice.
I
and
gay
holy hell.
gasped when I saw my character.
yeah.
This
Same.
is such a
Yeah.
All I can hope is to make all
Right?
of you gay for yourself.
It
We
is-
are
He's
good at
character
it.
good.
broke me.
Aki's character broke Eliza.
Oh my god. Okay, I gotta calm down.
You know what, my first, I don't want to give anything away, but I will say that like the moment I saw Aki's character, I was like, Wakandan's got nothing on you.
Yo.
Damn.
Yo.
Like, damn.
I just cannot.
Aki is a brilliant character designer, yeah.
Yeah.
I can say that. Very
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
references.
Good
from
stuff.
them. Very
So
good
many-
references all across the
So
board.
many good
Yeah.
questions here. I don't know who to embarrass.
Yeah, I'm the color of my hair now.
Okay, this is a great question. Cat Waterflame asks, besides Oscar Isaac, of course, who would you want as a pie in the sky guest player dream? I will say I would like to see Mary Chifo
Yes.
Yeah.
guest on the
I think she's like top of the list.
Pie in the Sky. That's not Pie in the Sky?
No.
That's not a pie in the sky request,
For me-
Hector.
For me, it's LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I want LeVar real bad.
Oh,
No.
For
man.
me,
Oh,
Anthony Rapp.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
such
wonderful.
a gamer. No, a lot of
He'd
people
be
don't know
awesome.
that.
Oh, that's
He's
true.
a huge gamer.
That's true, yeah.
Excellent.
And
You want someone that would be
when,
into it.
When I got him into the Magic Castle, and the whole night he was asking about RPG games and
No
all this,
shit.
and he was just like, "I'm a gamer."
That's
It's just-
not
I
pie in
love
the
him,
sky.
and
That's
I would
literally just
literally
like a
break
he just
down.
he just lives far away. He just
Oh,
lives
okay.
far away. He lives
But
in
it's
New York.
yeah. But
My-
like yeah, if he ever comes into town,
My rent-loving ass would break down.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lisa,
That
I
could
went to
be
go
the
see him in a
musical
concert.
episode.
Oh!
I'll check pie in the air. Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr.
If you
Wax.
ever get to just say, I want a person in a thing, just say Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
Just do it.
He's amazing.
Why would you not?
This is a lot of good ones.
I know, right?
Yeah.
what do you
Anybody.
think?
Brent Spiner.
No, you can't think so.
I love him.
Snoop Dogg is a big Trekkie.
That's so
He
interesting.
is. He has an
Yeah.
entire portrait of
Yeah,
Star
he
Trek
does. Bring
Online's
Martha Stewart
Enterprise
with
F
him?
on his wall.
What?
Yeah.
You know who's
Oh,
a big,
Trekkie.
big Trekkie is Rihanna.
But we would be
Oh my god.
Really?
Let's
That's
get
pie in the
Rihanna.
sky.
Shut up.
Let's get a reread.
Work.
Shut up.
That would be rad.
amazing.
Yeah,
You guys got to do a track.
It would be. I think.
Track.
Oh no.
Does that mean you have to rap or something?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm a rapper.
We have 11 minutes. I want to try to
Yeah.
get through as many of these as
Yeah.
possible. Let's do rapid fire.
Okay.
All right.
Geek outs.
Lightning round.
For everyone, what is your favorite piece of technology from all of Trek?
Holodeck.
Replicator.
Replicator. Replicators have it. Jaroth 42. Replicator's the thing that just makes coffee for everybody.
No, I mean,
That's all.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, I am.
Yeah.
Not just coffee. It makes things.
World hunger.
I have a different answer. It's the ships because we don't
Yeah,
have
sure.
ships like that yet.
Yeah,
And,
you know what? I think
and
that's
it's
my
just-
answer too.
holy crap.
Like a normal person.
Like,
Oh, that's cheating.
Medical-
It's a replicator. Okay,
Medical
fine. Sure.
transporter
No, no, no.
because
Yeah.
advanced medicine so much.
that's
Yeah.
a great one.
Transporter's great.
Holodeck.
Oh, yeah,
Jaroth
transporter.
42. Who
Yeah.
will be your hashtag stupid sexy NPC?
We don't know yet.
don't know.
We got to
We
meet
gotta
our
find
NPCs.
out.
We haven't.
Charity's lady.
Whoever you're guesting us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hashtag stupid sexy actor.
Charity's lady asks, how does it feel to be / have been pioneers in the new medium of live RPG entertainment for an audience?
Wow.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you
how
for
you've
that
been called that.
compliment.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Very kind.
I love being part of the community of gamers that are doing what we're doing. It's like everyone. I mean, we always point at Critical Role because they're the one that broke the ceiling,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's lovely. But like
Yeah,
hyper,
but now it's leaking.
yeah,
Get somebody in here.
hyper RPG, saving throw.
Yeah.
QueueTimes now. Like, there's a lot of great studios out there that have been doing this. I always point at Saving Throw because they are the OG.
Yeah,
they have
they
been
really
doing
are.
this.
They have been.
They have been doing Saving Throw's
The
been doing this
original
for a
gamers, yes.
long time. It's
Amy Warple got her start there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Havana
A
got
lot
her
of
start
people
there.
did.
She helped
Yeah.
build it. Amy
Yeah.
Warble
Yeah,
helped
she did.
build Saving Throw.
But even the new stuff like Scabby Rooster, like the
Scabby Rooster is
experimental
doing all this
LARPing.
really
Oh,
great.
yeah, really
Scabby
cool.
Rooster has this big open set where they do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and
they're the
LARPing.
only LARPing space that we've got
So
here. So
my reply to that
Dragons
is
and things.
the honor is that essentially I was kind of like, I'm wondering if it's accurate to say that like running these games, especially in Star Trek, and being able to contribute our own stories to this sort of fan fiction of Star Trek, I kind of feel like we're all professional fans and but professional streamers, like showing our love for Trek. What I love about what we get to do here is largely it's the generic answer really, but the community connection is everything for me, and that includes my fellow streamers who are also telling stories and innovating in the space. So yeah.
There are so many great questions. CMDR Catch asks, what is one item you, not your character, would have in your starship quarters?
Me personally.
Bat
I
left.
mean,
Yeah.
dice?
Portable hollow
I mean, if I'm just gonna
Hollow
like
emitter.
tell on myself,
Yeah.
That's a tough
I
one.
don't know.
Yeah, that's. Oh man.
I don't know
Whatever,
Bat left.
whatever
great
the,
question.
the Star Trek future equivalent is for like, it's probably like one of those little like just little squares that you put into a thing, and it's like every movie ever. Like that's
Oh, right.
Like,
They did
I'll
it.
have, like, every
Oh, yeah,
Marvel
yeah,
comic.
yeah.
Like,
Tom Paris would have movie night.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
For
Yeah.
public domain movies.
Yeah.
That's my movie. Question, Jaroth 42 asks, actually, yeah, let's do this one. Will the Klingon episodes have Klingon love poetry?
Well,
Nuke neck.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to. All right.
we'll
do
see.
we want?
Gemini Lighting has a question. Have you played a session 0?
Yes,
Yeah,
we played
I've
multiples.
Ooh.
But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you guys this. That the session zeros that we were playing, we decided they're going to influence what we do, but we didn't want to canonize them because we didn't want we wanted
Except that one.
Yes, there was one that we canonized because it was just too good.
Oh.
But we were
know
like
this one.
this isn't going to be canonized in the show. It's not going to be
Yeah,
canon.
yeah.
And then when the session ended, we were like, no, we're going to use that. That's just too much.
Great.
But
I don't know about this.
No.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know
Yeah.
about this.
It's fine.
no,
Don't
no.
worry about it. Don't worry about
Yeah, I
it.
can't
think it was
talk about it,
like right
unfortunately.
Now I'm worried about it.
No. It's,
We were
it's,
there.
it's really wonderful. It's wonderful.
We weren't there.
But yeah.
He's a monster.
Yeah, it's a sense of year that not all of us were there for, so
Ah.
we'll also get to be surprised.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Kirby.Matrix has a question for Eric.
Eddie!
Ed Doty, who, by the way, real quick, Ed Doty was instrumental in launching Shield of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ed Doty was
yeah.
instrumental in launching Vast.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Instrumental in launching Sam Gillette.
Instrumental in launching. Tip your hat.
Yeah, we had to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Tip your hat to Ed Doty.
Eddie is our good son. We love him.
We love it.
Let's go boy.
He asks, question for Eric, will there be Anbo Jitsu fights?
Oh man, I can't wait to incorporate. That's one thing that I've always wanted to see. how Earth martial arts clash with other martial arts of other species.
I so regretted I
Vulcan.
didn't get his consultation for Rue back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, because Rue would have absolutely been a Kobujitsu or like a Kali stick fighter.
Just influenced by
Yeah.
Eddie's genius. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, Eddie Doty, in addition to being an amazing producer and creative director over at Ranker, is also a total martial arts nerd.
nerd out quite a bit.
Also, like, fitting fighting styles to role-play characters.
Yes.
Helped me a little bit with
Ooh,
Reese
that's-
Keegan from Long Beach by Night here on QueueTimes. And
Also
also,
art-
did a game of his own design called Kumite, which is a very expanded martial arts engine that is available over on Sandringham.
And he's a vet.
Yeah, don't.
Gotta tip my hat to him because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
also a vet.
Thank you for your
Wow.
service.
And he's
And a sweet dance.
he's just the
And
sweetest.
that's
He's just Ed.
Yeah.
Eddie is awesome.
real good at
This
that.
is now the We Love Eddie show.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Always was.
Sign me up.
So now,
Um,
it's
he's a-
time to Blush Monster Eddie Doty
Yeah.
in chat.
Yeah.
He's a real big fan of the movie Grosse Point Blank.
I got
This
to
is
put him on
true.
blast. Like that.
Boy, oh boy, there was some great ones. Oh, there's a question for me in here. Geek Outs asks,
Yeah.
for Hector, what was Martinez's go-to drink? I don't remember. I don't know. I'll make it up right now. Michelada would be his go-to drink.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Bold choice.
That's just what I,
Sing-along?
that's just what I
Sing-along?
want right now.
Right now.
You really
that
like
does sound
blood
good.
wine. I remember,
Yeah.
I remember
I
Martinez
know,
really
the
liked
one
blood
person on
wine.
that ship I couldn't yell out about alcohol.
I think you guys have already kind of gone over this. Alred Phoenix is asking, what's the situation with guest characters? Is there kind of a like
We're
a
Yes.
getting rid of them all.
Got
no
it.
characters
So
have been.
Got it.
guest
No,
characters?
Mhm.
Do you mean like
As in NPCs?
guest players maybe, like how frequent or like you know?
when we can get them?
Got it.
Yeah, essentially when we can get them. Like I said, so Clear Skies. We not to show too much under the hood. We
Oh.
don't have a budget, so it's really it's whenever we can get them. Whenever folks got the time. Yeah.
Here's some great questions. I'm going to knock these out 1, 2. KB Tibbs is asking, what questions of humanity or assorted other species are you hoping to explore in Clear Skies? And ZE Films is asking, if you can say, TNG had a theme of exploration, DS9 had a more political vibe, Voyager literally lost in space. What themes will Clear Skies explore?
So I will tell you to answer the Z Films question.
What themes?
So Clear Skies, the one thing that I keep coming back to when developing Clear Skies is it's a galaxy that has come through the shadows of the fires of war. Can we be who we once were, or are we changed? Are we still the Federation we were before this happened?
Damn.
It's part of the motivation behind the ship and what the ship is and what the crew is turning out to be, and it's asking big questions of like, can we reclaim who we are? Did we lose who we are?
And self-discovery, maybe.
That's the thing is like ultimately the theme behind Clear Skies is, if we are still Starfleet, then the answer to whoever it is we are is out there somewhere,
Right.
and we need to go. We need to boldly go.
Go.
That's because that's where it's so. And so when we landed on the name Clear Skies, it not only had obviously some sentimental significance because of its history with us, but it nailed exactly what the show is aiming to find.
There was like a legit light bulb moment. I think it was in like a session 0 or something where you're like, let's just talk real quick about the name, what it is.
Yeah, because we were agonizing over
we
the
went
name.
through several polls of
Yeah.
a lot of different
Ooh.
things.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I guess first started with.
Yeah, I think we
when-
got all the way to like the poll part 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hey-o.
We
Yeah,
last
just-
reference to Shield of
Yeah. I'll get into a question.
Just a few minutes left. Here's a great question. Vic Andes is asking, Eric, are we able to know the name and class of the ship, or do we need to wait till the crew info comes out?
You guys ready for
Let's
this?
do the lead-in.
I don't
Because
think
this is the big announcement, everybody.
Oh, yeah, I know.
What an excellent lead-in. So I'm going to set this up first because we've been keeping the ship under wraps because it's been a big deal. But before I go into it, I'm going to go ahead and right now, thanks to Jake, who's monitoring the show, I'm going to go ahead as I explain to you what's happening next. I am going to reveal now the ship plaque to all of you. It is a tremendous honor and an exciting. Take a look. We have it. There it is. Everyone,
Wow.
this is the USS Ross. She is a first starship of her class.
Wow. Wow.
Registry NX 76710. Does that sound close to familiar?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And our quote for this game is, "The stars don't look bigger, but they do look brighter." Dr. Sally Ride.
Hey,
That's
you can't
beautiful.
take that from us.
The
You guys,
US
I love all the names that are in like the Starfleet personnel. It's
Yeah,
just, it
you're
just
in there.
brings
Your name's on that
eye.
plaque.
Yep.
No, but
Yep.
it's like Leonard Nimoy and Anton Yelchin
Yep.
and Aaron Eisenberg and all these great people.
Yep, they're all
Renee
there.
Aubergine.
Renee's up there.
Wow.
So the USS Ross is named after Mary G. Ross, the first woman Native American engineer that was instrumental. And we're going to be posting that link in the chat right now.
And we had so many awesome suggestions. For
So
names
many
for
That was
suggestions.
another.
Yeah.
That was
whole-
such a hard
In
decision.
fact, I
It
might
was
say
so hard.
naming this ship was the most difficult part of the show because we wanted to do so much with it.
Now you have a show.
Now we
and-
have a show.
Yeah.
So the
We
USS
had-
Ross is a prototype starship. She is a Variant Galaxy class starship. I'm calling her a Variant Galaxy class because I have been told today that I can give you guys the big reveal. The USS Mary Ross Galaxy class starship variant is going to be available in Star Trek Online.
What? Are you
Yes.
serious?
Yes. not as a ship that you can encounter, but as a ship that you can fly.
Whoa.
The
Don't
U-
crash my ship!
Crash our ship.
Thomas
No,
Maroney.
take screenshots of those crashes.
Thomas Maroney of Star Trek Online designed her for us.
That is amazing.
She is one of a kind. She is built specifically for clear skies, and she will be launching. I would say, stay tuned to Star Trek Online because they're going to be giving you all the information. Our first episode of Clear Skies is going to be our prologue episode where the crew is coming together. And then eventually they, along with you, will get to see the USS Ross. But we're incredibly excited. Star Trek Online has been amazing. They have been our biggest supporter by far. They are fans of the show. They built us the Ross. I've seen the pictures and the developments and some of the pictures. The other thing too that I have to talk about is that Star Trek Online and Thomas Maroney has been sharing a bunch of images with me of parts of a Galaxy class that have never really been used. Because here's the thing: 1,100 people on a Galaxy class starship. That's a skeletal crew.
So many people.
There's this great YouTube video that actually shows how many people that is compared to the size of a Galaxy class. You can fit the entire crew of a Galaxy class starship on 1/3 of the saucer section. Which
I
is
have
why
noted that for tactical purposes.
yeah. Which is why it's actually kind of accurate to see empty corridors in TNG because it's such a big ship.
old ship.
As a result, there are these huge areas of the ship that were never really explored, such as the data core and environmental labs and stuff like that.
The
We have
theme
a
park. The theme park.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of
The aquarium.
like in real life.
Yeah. The IRS section of the ship.
Yeah.
So
No
there's,
one goes
there's gonna be a lot of wonderful parts. So I will say the USS Ross. I had the crew make her first because I did not know what the crew wanted to run. What they landed on was a variant of the Galaxy class, and the template they chose was technical test bed. And so the Mary Ross is an engineering ship that is a prototype technology. She's one of the newest ships off the line. And she is she's one of a kind. And I'm just going to tell you guys this: the designs that Thomas has been incorporating into this ship, and that we're incorporating into the game, are phenomenal. They're so rad. I'm going to give.
Look, she's just really hot, okay? My ship is so hot.
I don't want to give away because I want the characters to actually experience it in the narrative because they're going to be introduced to the ship as well.
I'm just gonna cry a lot the first episode.
Tune in for that.
But the stuff that Thomas is doing designing the ship is spectacular, and we are so honored to once again be incorporated into the Star Trek Online universe. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal. And we're really excited to introduce and show you the Ross when she's up and ready. Happy 10 years to Star Trek Online, you guys.
Yes!
It is Star Trek Online's 10-year anniversary.
That's unbelievable, especially in the MMO space.
In the MMO space, it's amazing. I was playing that game when the beta came out, and it was insane because the beta launch was. I love those guys. The beta launch went down historically as one of the buggiest launches, but it was also one of the most hilarious because the way they ended the beta launch was they removed the borders so that Klingons and Federation could attack each other.
Oh no.
Which was hilarious because everyone knew that the Klingons were going to show up to troll the Federation, so all the Federation did was wait by Earth's space dock, and when Klingons would come out of warp, they'd just blow them up. And then Then they decided to bring the beta to the end by installing Q on Earth Starbase 1
Oh,
and then
clever.
invading with the Borg.
Oh my
So the
God.
Borg just, until the whole server just went down. It was pure chaos. And it was hilarious. Anyway,
Sounds like a lot of
that
fun.
was...
are not Q times.
These are the kinds of stories we're
dear.
going to be telling our
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
Wait, are we safe to do a Star Trek show on QueueTimes?
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think so.
Nothing is
Are we like playing around?
Playing with the timeline.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The
Asking for it.
continuum is
Asking
gonna
for
come get us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Q time
Um,
space continuum.
Real quick, I want to give a big shout out before we wrap up. Quest Design Canada. They are the ones that made us our plaque for the USS Sally ride for Shield of Tomorrow. And that is the same company on Etsy that is making that plaque you see right there
you.
for the USS Ross. We are super, super excited to working with them again. They are doing lovely work. That is a custom-made plaque that he's throwing together for us. We're super excited. Definitely check out his Etsy store. It'd be doing us a big favor since he did us a big favor once again. Check it out on Etsy. It's Quest Design Canada, and I'll post that link up on my Twitter account and whatnot to make sure that everybody sees it. But yeah,
So we got that. We got the P.O. Box forthcoming,
Mhm.
right? We
Also,
have the
I did want to talk about the shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I do know it's too small for me, but I have to wear it.
What?
Because
I got it for you.
you did get it for me.
Wait a minute, that's not a Spice Girl shirt.
It's not. It's Space Girls. And we've got
Wait, who's
7 of 9.
Scary space.
We've got T'Pol.
To Paul.
We've got an Orion
Six.
woman.
Posh.
Yeah.
Bolana. And then
Taurus, yeah.
Deanna Troy.
I love it. I love it. Space
baby.
Girls. Space up your
yeah,
life.
let's do that.
Incredible.
Every boy and every girl.
I've had it forever, and I never get to wear it, and I'm like, now's the time.
Yep, today's the day.
Today's
Oh
the
boy.
we do have one last announcement.
Yeah, what is it?
And this one's a little bit big on the meta, and I know we're kind of running over here, so Jake's being very sweet. So this one's this one is much of a larger theme. This is addressing all of the big changes you've seen happening in the streaming sphere. There's been a lot, and a lot of us, for a while, were scattered to the wind. I think you're seeing that a lot of us are reaching out and grabbing hold and coming back together and trying to find places.
Desperately.
Yes, because we didn't want to lose. We didn't want to lose what we had. We were telling all these great stories together. You guys have been instrumental in making that happen. So we not only we were talking about Clear Skies, but we were talking about we need to sort of formalize ourselves as a group. There's a lot of great groups out there. I just want to go on the record and saying that Uncommon Trust is such a great name.
It is a good
What a
name.
great name for a
Why,
group.
thank you.
Did you do that?
I mean,
Yes.
no, it was a group effort because that's how these things work.
Right. Well done, Sam.
No.
But
No,
I'm just gonna poke
no.
fun. But yeah, it really helps. I think so. Everyone knows who's playing what game, who you're talking about when you're addressing who, like what everybody is. We went agonized over like, do we want to form a group? Do we want to do this? We decided yes, we want to form a group.
You want to go
Sort of like a loose affiliation of people that come together and are making all of this content together. Loose. Yeah,
And
not
though,
really that
and though
loose.
you have for the longest time called us the Campbell crew, Eric specifically had a problem with that because he didn't like how much it was centered on him.
I just wanted to. I thought it was charming. Campbell versus Campbell crew is all very charming, but I was like, so much of everything I do is everything that I am a part of, and everything that we're doing together. So, we have come up with a group, and Sam was the genius behind this group name that we all got behind. Definitely heavily influenced by our experiences on Callisto 6. So moving forward. It'll be rolling out over time as we're developing things, but we are officially calling ourselves Streampunks. So Streampunks,
Perfect.
because that is
Perfect.
that is from the mind of Sam DeLev. We give you Streampunks.
What have you done?
What have you done?
what we always do, I must do.
So we'll be rolling out more information about that in the future, but it's kind of the brand that we're going to fall under as we play games and as we develop more shows and more content in the future. Clear Skies being our baby right now. And I have, by the way, a name for your Klingon show that I want to pitch you, but I can't share it with you guys yet. Because I can't announce the name unless I get Elisa's approval. Of
course.
So,
Fair.
And just preemptively saying, yes, Punky is our mascot.
So we have to let everybody know to follow the Shield of Tomorrow / Clear Skies Twitter for
That's
information.
at Shield of Tomorrow, all one word.
Yeah, but it's not.
MRW.
Yeah, it's not fully written out.
Yep. And then what else does everybody need to know before you announce when this first episode's going to happen so that everybody can put it in their cal if it's not already in there?
Yeah, stay tuned on Shield of Tomorrow Twitter, on the Clear Skies Twitter account that you're going to see popping up, because that's where we're going to be rolling out all the character information. It's coming up very soon. You're going to see all the gorgeous, amazing, stunning, beautiful work that Sam
Mark
led.
has to see the world.
That Sam
You're all gonna cry too.
Yes.
Sam has been working so hard on all of
It's
this.
so beautiful.
I
And
want to do them justice because they're beautiful.
they're
I want to make them gay for themselves.
so stay tuned to that.
Also, make sure that you're following and or subscribed to QueueTimes to get the notifications when they go live.
Yeah.
The first episode should be going up on Monday the 3rd.
Our very first episode is a week from today, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a week from today.
Which is what date?
And that is January 13th at
13th,
6:30 p.m., same time slot that this was in.
And we are doing a rebroadcast schedule that we are going to work out soon.
Yes.
Correct.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
We will also
and I
have
will
pod
say,
and podcast.
and yes, we're going to be posting
podcast.
our episodes will be going up on
Yes.
YouTube for free consumption, and we will be making a podcast as well.
I'm about that podcast life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So yeah,
Well done, everybody.
thanks, John.
Thank
Good
you.
game. Thank
Great
you,
job.
Hector,
So
for
good.
coming back.
Thank you
so much.
Huge round of applause to everybody here. Congrats on the show. Thank you for watching and for all of your great questions. Even though we didn't get to all of them, they were fantastic. And may you all live long and prosper. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
We'll teach you later.
Okay, thank you.